once cried. A new dawn breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey everybody, how you doing? How is everybody's week? What's going on, people? Let me see. What's up, Commander? Good to see you, brother. Hello, Pam. Good to see you. Jimmy from Philly in the house, my brother from the same mother. Hey, Wheat Greatness. What's up? How you guys doing? How's everybody doing? How was your week, everyone? So Dr. Jade is back in the house. Jade, how you been? What the hell happened to you for the last 3 weeks?
Oh my God, you guys, you just don't want to know.
All right, moving on. No. Go ahead.
Just, take a long walk on a short pier. That's what. Yeah, well, I don't know how much Rich said. He told you I was laid up, I think. Well, I had I had a knee replacement surgery on the 29th of December. And let me just tell you, my friends, it has been one hell of almost 3 weeks. Wow. It took a lot of wind out of my sails. I'm not going to go into any details, and there will be no graphic pictures. But let me just say this about that. I usually recover pretty well. Man, this has kicked the crap right out of me. So, but I'm back. Did you guys miss me? I hope you missed me.
Everybody was asking for you.
I'm
hey,
here.
What's up, Robin?
I'm back to keep Rich on the proper track
keep me
as
from getting a strike
as I have
per job.
As I do, and keep everything moving.
Jimmy's asking you a question. Did it work? Did the operation work? That's what he's asking. I think she froze. I think Jade froze. Hey, what's up, sis? My sister's in the house. So I got my brother and my sister in here. Oh, something's up, Jade. You're out. All right, let's go over when she gets back. When I hear her talking again, we're gonna go over now. What we're gonna talk about tonight, man. There is another plethora of news. It's like fire hose news from now on. All right. So let's just start down the center. The moral blackmailing of the American people. Yeah, ICE is the Gestapo. Fucking morons. All right. ICE agents haul a driver. This was great. They haul a driver out of the car. And you don't see the video beforehand, like when what she was doing with her car. And she says, I have an appointment. And they're like, shut the fuck up. Right. So Nick Shirley, who actually got the ball rolling on all the fraud in Minnesota alone, he exposed it's taxi companies fraud. I mean, these people, the Somalis, man, it's like Jesus Christmas. You know, there's so much shit going on up there in Minnesota. But there's everywhere, apparently, there's Somalis in America, like large communities, there's fraud galore. Because that's what their country's all about. That's what they're about. They got nothing there. And so you get involved in a government scam, you know, hey, more power to you. So Democrats, this is great news, guys. They dumped Jasmine Crockett in Texas Senate primary. She lost her seat due to the redistricting in the House. Good riddance. And she ran for the Senate at the state level, and they just kicked her ass out. James Tallarico, they got him in instead because they got sick of her shenanigans, right? Here we go. A new theory on liberal women's obsession with immigration. I think it has to do with there is no demographic where, other than the female liberal, that you just can't get them to not vote and support communism. That's just my opinion. But when you see how they behave, what they believe, they're just, you know, they're a little nuts. Independent journalist, watch this, finds insane number of hospice care fraud and all these fronts for hospice care, just like, you know, the Leering Center, the Quality Leering Center in Minneapolis. Well, this is in a California building. Here you go. Gavin Newsom says California cooperates with ICE. Look at that shit-eating grin right there. It's like he wants to sell you a used car. Think about it. The left will. Here's another. This is an interesting story. It's going around everywhere, like a lot of different stories. The left will never forgive Renee Good for being white. Now, what does that mean? Because it showed that white privilege does not exist. This was the thing that came from Minneapolis in the beginning. Remember St. George Floyd, who died of an overdose of fentanyl, right? That they tried to tell us a cop had his knee on her neck when he did not, according to video that the defense showed, but none of the usual suspects in the media did. All right, he had it on his shoulder. Well, that whole thing, white privilege, that bullshit started in the same city that it now ended, because it proved that she had no privilege whatsoever. I saw memes that said, you know, she learned the hard way that white privilege isn't really a thing. Here we go. Trump is right. Obamacare made fat cat insurers rich while patients beg for scraps. Here we go. As Trump contemplates invoking the Insurrection Act against Minnesota, Washington's example as president is instructive. All right. But they're going out of their minds like, he committed an insurrection. He was never charged with insurrection. He wasn't even impeached for insurrection. So these Jacobins, let them scream. I don't care. All right. Now, here's one that's interesting. It's about SCOTUS. Could this undo the 2020 changes? In other words, SCOTUS greenlit lawsuits against mail-in ballot rules, because the mail-in ballots are just ripe for fraud. Just absolutely. We all know that, right? Now, this is the woman from Venezuela, the true leader of Venezuela, I believe. The president receives a historic gift. We'll get into that. And what do you hear? What do you hear how CNN, this is how they're bullshitting you. So look at how we're going to see how CNN framed inflation under warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden versus Trump. And then we have Trump threatens to invoke Insurrection Act to end anti-ICE protests. It's a little different from the one above, but we'll get into it anyway. Then we have, Nick Shirley exposes fraud in Somali-run taxpayer-funded. Did I go through these already? I guess I did. Caroline Leavitt destroys left-wing activists. This is awesome. This guy right in the center there, the no-hair guy. She destroyed him, saying he was an activist posing as a journalist, and I think he was when you hear it. In fact, I might lead off with that. As not today, Jennifer, a woman arrested for punching an officer in the face during an ICE incident. Okay, Jade's back. Hey, what happened to you? I thought you went off on another 2-week leave.
Yeah, well, that was a good thought, but no, I think my internet decided to have its own version of a seizure.
Oh, wow. What's up, Lou?
So anyway,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me just interject to close the subject, because just as I cut myself off, I was hearing, I think Commander was asking how I was doing. The end of the story is that I had the surgery. First week was absolutely miserable. I was up walking with a walker, but now I have continued to improve. I am weight bearing. I'm using a cane most of the time, but I am walking. I'm
cool.
not 100%. I got a lot of physical therapy to go through, get some strength back, and I need some range of motion, but the knee is working.
Awesome.
So
the knee is working.
The knee is working. So
that's cool.
That's where I am.
That's awesome. So, hey, Take Two Drums. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Ludwig. Who else did I miss? Louis.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're right. My knee went out. It went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came home.
Never came home. Exactly. All right, so now we got, let's go over a couple more. Tampon Tim welcomed high school students. This is hilarious. He welcomed high school students to the state capitol to protest ICE, and pandemonium ensued. It's a great video. Independent journalist reveals shocking similarities between Medicaid fraud in Minnesota and Maine. UN to censor all criticism of the climate agenda as a whistleblower exposes it as a total scam that we all knew it already was.
I was going to say, you think?
Yeah. And then the Clintons ignore congressional subpoenas regarding their relationship with Epstein. And I am so interested to find out what the hell's going to go on there, because they, the lefties, they sent Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro to prison for claiming the same thing they did. And they wrote a letter. I'm not even going to read it, but they wrote a letter to Comer, the chairman. And it starts off trying to sound legalese and whatnot. And then it gets into, it's like she was running for president. It's like she throws every single issue out there into it. And therefore it's like, well, I don't like the way that ICE is, handling things in Minnesota. Therefore we shouldn't have to come. What? I mean, they're nuts, right? But I hope they throw them in jail. Yeah, I hope they at least throw them in jail for 4 months, like they did to the other two guys.
But Rich,
yeah,
it's different when they do it.
Yeah, I know, when they do it. All right, MAGA. Danish officials are now betting on U.S. cooperation over Greenland. Exclusive. The Biden admin paid out $84.5 million in error for Minnesota housing assistance. Error. You heard that. Error. Including to hundreds who were already dead.
Is that like a rounding error?
Yeah, it probably is.
An accounting
considering it's like over $1 billion. It's like 1.4 billion now in the fraud that they've just uncovered so far. Who is funding the hands-off Venezuela protests? I told you earlier behind the scenes we were going to talk about that. It's not George Soros, believe it or not. I know that denies belief in a benevolent being, but it's not. So State Department freezes visas for welfare-dependent migrants from 75 countries. Yeah, the Biden administration obviously wanted to flood the country with illegals so that by the time the census comes around in 4 more years, they'd be able to get their congressional seats back, because that prank known as the Chief Justice of the United States, Judge Roberts, he said that they could be counted in a census. Iran's ruling elites are frantically wiring millions abroad. Geez, Jade, I wonder why. Why do you think that is?
Gee, let's see. Gosh, I just don't know.
Meanwhile, the head guy, Khomeini, he just threw threats out at Trump. These guys got balls, and then we got like, oh my goodness, just look at all that. Got a lot of stories this week. So let's get here. What just happened? I disconnected my StreamYard. Hey, Anglo, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Hey, what's up? GG Show Backup. What's up? Haven't seen you before. Welcome. Let's see. Who else is here?
Oh, Anglo. Rich thanks you.
What's that?
And I thank you.
I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
You probably did. There's a...
Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. Yeah, I did. Hey, Anglo, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thanks, brother. And you too can be like Anglo. Kurt Khomeini. That's funny. Dude,
well, they say it's going to end up just like Syria, where Bashar Assad ended up.
I'm not sure if that's an insult or or a compliment. Commander, you're a top man.
Oh,
I mean, years ago, it's like,
Are you a top or a bottom?
It's like fixing a tranny years ago meant you were working on your car, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Are you a top or a bottom?
Yeah, there you go. All right.
But no, they're saying the Ayatollah may end up like Bashar Assad out of Syria. He may decide that January is a very good time to take a vacation in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah, something's going to happen with them. Well, I know they stopped the executions. That one kid was supposed to be executed, and they didn't do it.
Apparently, they did.
Yeah. They hang it from a crane. Apparently, Homeland, the TV show, was correct. They were accurate. Yeah, they take you to a yard and they just hook you up to a crane and they lift the crane and you're dead.
Or they throw you off a roof, or they shoot you, whatever.
Well, they only throw you off a roof if you're gay.
Yeah, that's
because they don't have any mountains there that they could climb, and
they like that. They like that for the homosexuals.
Yeah, they like to throw. Well, they're supposed to throw them off a mountain.
Not for the lesbians, though. They just figure if they rape them enough, they'll change their mind.
And they'll make them normal again, right? We got some sick people in this world. We got some sick people in the studio, but we got some sick people in this world. Seriously.
How about just everybody leave everybody else alone?
Yeah.
And
live your life. Get the government out of our our privacy. Screw them all.
The government in my life as little as possible.
Exactly. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is we got the lib nuts out there that are violent no matter what. I mean, think about where we're at now in the United States. We have the lib nuts. Lib nuts, I think, are they're nuts and they're liberals, right? So hence the name. But I mean, they're just itching to get out there and fight something. And I think I've said this before. I think it's because, when you grow up, I don't care where we got people in here from Australia, from the UK, I mean, Canada. We got people from all over the place in here. And I bet every one of you went through the same damn thing, right? And which is you grow up and at a certain point, you argue and you become a rebel against your parents. You fight your parents because they're an authority. You're at the age where you see some older friends of yours that are allowed to have, like more privileges because they're older. They're at that age and you're not. And you just get angry and you think your parents are assholes. And it takes a couple years into your early 20s when you realize they were right about most of it. Right. Well, think about when you're a liberal growing up and you have liberal parents and you're growing up. Well, they're going to let you run free for the most part. They're not going to unless you do something that could kill yourself, but they're going to let you be unruly. They're the kids that get to, come on, shit, fuck, come on. They get to curse all they want. They do all the crazy shit. And then you get to the point you never have a fight back because your parents are liberals and there's nothing really that they're going to argue with you, right? They let you do anything in most cases. I'm not saying all, but in most. And then you go to college and what do you get? You get these liberal professors that are telling you that communism is great, Marxism is wonderful, even though Marxist was a lazy slob who pined for his family to die so he could get money, right?
Oh, you shouldn't talk about Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, really, exactly. And so what happens is you grow up without anybody ever pushing back on you, and this is how you wind up as an adult wearing a pink pussy hat out complaining and bitching and protesting anything at all that sounds like parental authority. Am I wrong on that? And this is why you have so many people that are mentally deranged today on the left, right? Hey, what's up, 42?
You
Good to
know,
see you.
I think I can summarize it in a few words.
What's that?
Basically, liberal parents, their kids grow up never learning the meaning of responsibility.
Hey, well, you know what? you and Courage is the Cure, you and Robin, you guys share it. Liberal parents will never admit they're twisted. The shame would be too much for them to handle. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And they just never learn responsibility. They never learn responsibility and accountability.
I know.
And they for their own actions. They never learn.
That's what it is, because it's always someone else's fault, and God forbid you're some kind of a minority in this country. You've got to
turn into an
excuse board.
Instead of stamping your feet in a tantrum, you take a swing at a cop.
Exactly.
And guess what? All of a sudden, there is accountability.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, there's no such thing as white privilege. Thank you, Renee Good.
Yeah, I don't see it on here today, but did you see the quote unquote hero cop from J6 who testified in Congress about how afraid he was when he was attacked by these rioters, and he didn't draw his weapon because he knew he'd be overwhelmed, and how terrible it is that these rioters rose up against law enforcement. 5 years later, there's a video out of him now, that same guy, saying we need to take the Second Amendment. We need to take Second Amendment action against this government of ours. Okay, what happened to you need to respect law and order? What happened to that?
Well, it goes out the window when they're talking about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, again, so a bunch of middle-aged and older protesters who got a little unarmed, by the way, who got a little unruly and riotous. That is an insurrection, but 6 guys telling the military not to obey the commander-in-chief is not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you saw what happened to Kelly.
Well, I certainly hope it's going to happen.
No, it already did. It already did. Oh, what they did is they pulled him back into active duty so they could court-martial him.
Well, I think they demoted him.
They demoted him, and he lost pay, and they took something else away from him. I forget.
Yeah,
but he was already punished for that.
But and guys like this encouraging armed rebellion against the elected government.
This is where we are too. I mean, this is where we are.
And you know what that's called? That's called civil war.
Exactly.
Listen, you want it? Bring it on. That's how this country was born.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
You know what they say? Be careful for what you wish for. Nobody should wish for war.
Oh,
it
yeah.
It's
well, that's what we're facing now. All right, let me get into it.
Anyway, I didn't see it there. I wanted to bring it up.
Right. The moral blackmailing. Oh, guys, by the way, if you're here and you're watching and you're not, it's your first time here. Courage is the Cure is Robin, and she's an Australian. She has a wonderful show. Well, she has several shows. She's the hardest working woman I've seen so far on all these shows. She's pretty much you're on Rumble, and I believe Rumble, a little bit of YouTube, and some other places. Do me a favor, go and check her out and sub her. 42 is a modern day poet. He's from the UK. He's from Ireland, actually, and I believe Northern Ireland. And go and sub him as well. Whenever I watch either one of these two, I have a really good time because I learned so much. Robin is really into privacy issues and how the government is just trampling on them. So am I, and so is 40. I swear I'm going to ask both of you guys one day soon when I have the time. I'm going to set it up and see if we can actually do a stream together and talk about privacy issues and the problems with them in our respective countries. Yeah, I'm going to put the links down in the description for the end of this. All right, thank you very much, guys. So here we go. The moral blackmailing of the American people, crass lawlessness, and mafia-esque shakedown artistry. So In Springfield, Illinois, in 1838, a young Abraham Lincoln delivered a powerful speech decrying the ravages of mob law throughout the land. Lincoln warned in eerily prescient fashion that the spread of the then ascendant mobocratic spirit threatened to sever the attachment of the people to their fellow countrymen and their nation. Lincoln's opposition to anarchy of any kind was absolute and clarion. Quote, "There is no grievance that is a fit object of redress by mob law." Unfortunately, it seems that every few years, Americans must be reminded anew of Lincoln's wisdom. This week's lethal immigration and customs enforcement standoff in the Twin Cities is but the latest instance of a year-long baleful trend. That's right. It didn't just start in Minneapolis with Renee Nicole. On Wednesday, 37-year-old queer activist Renee Nicole Good was fatally shot by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Good, who had barricaded her vehicle in an attempt to obstruct an active law enforcement operation, a felony, by the way, ignored agents' requests, another felony, by the way, to exit the vehicle, and instead directed her car at one of the agents, and yet another felony. Good actually then hit the agent that all the lib nuts said didn't happen, even though he now has internal bleeding, who was briefly hospitalized for his injuries. But before she could do even more damage, the agent shot and killed Good. Good was killed. The federal government has called Good's encounter an act of domestic terrorism and said the agent shot in self-defense. So suffice it to say, Minnesota's Democratic establishment does not see it this way. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey responded to Soy Boy, who speaks Somalian. Did you know that? Responded to the deployment of 2,000 immigration agents in the area and the deadly encounter by telling ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis. He was a real tough guy, wasn't he? While Governor Tim Walz called the shooting totally predictable and totally avoidable. Oh, really? These motherfuckers, let me say this. When you have politicians who start off by telling their constituents, the nutty ones, by telling them that ICE is disappearing people, is deporting citizens. Where are you going to deport citizens to? Is illegally operating on the street, pulling up in unmarked vehicles, which is not against the law. They don't identify themselves. They have police and ICE written all over their clothing, right? There's no way you don't know who the hell they are. When you have them saying, well, when ICE comes in town, we're going to use this little app here and we're going to tell everybody so that the illegals, so that the members of our community, the undocumented, right, so that they can evade capture, right? When you have that kind of shit happening, what do you expect? That's like taking the pin out of a grenade and tossing it in the middle of the floor. What do you expect to happen? So Frey, who was also mayor during the St. George Floyd-inspired mayhem of 2020, the summer of love, if you will, has lent succor. I've never seen that word. Is it succor, Jade? Succor.
Succor means to give aid and support.
Oh, you learn a word every day. To the anti-ICE provocateurs, seemingly encouraging them to make Good a Floyd-like martyr and riot accordingly. Of course, you have to riot. Come on. As for Walz, he's right that this tragedy was eminently avoidable, but not for the reasons he thinks. If the Biden-Harris administration hadn't let in untold millions of unvetted illegal aliens, and if Walz's administration hadn't conveniently overlooked hundreds of Minnesotans of mixed immigration status defrauding taxpayers to the tune of billions of dollars, ICE never would have embarked on this particular operation. And let's do the but-for clause, guys. But for Nicole Good driving into the officer and trying to evade arrest, she would still be alive. And I want to say this. I think within a shadow of a doubt that they would have, if she got out of the car and complied, they would have cuffed her ass, threw her in their vehicle, let her sit there for 20 minutes and sweat it out, and come back, open the door, uncuff her, and say, all right, we're going to let you go this time with a warning, but if we catch you doing it again, we're going to arrest you. And she would have been home that night, to do whatever the weird thing she does with her wife, right? So she brought that shit on herself, and yet you've got both administrations of Minneapolis and the state saying that it was all ICE, right? It was all ICE. Like, how many other cities does ICE go into where there aren't people out there freaking out and throwing shit at the agents and trying to block them from doing their job and chanting and shouting, you know, ICE is in town to help them evade. I mean, there's a lot of other places where ICE goes that you don't see this kind of shit.
Yeah, like you sent to me this week, that big Harvard study that showed that millions of mothers actually made it home this week.
Yep.
Because they didn't confront ICE.
Right, because they didn't try to run over an ICE. It was a great meme.
So I have a tangent question for you. You mentioned that Frey speaks Somali. Do you know that?
Oh yeah. Well, I was making a joke last week. I said Jacob Frey actually gave a speech, and do you know what? He spoke in English.
Because do you know that he speaks Somali?
Yes, that's why I was making the joke, because he gave a whole speech to the Somalians. He
spoke words in Somali.
Yes, he did.
That does not mean he speaks Somali.
Well, he read off of a teleprompter.
Exactly.
Whether he knows what the hell he said or not, I don't know. I just think it's pretty ridiculous. You see, we can go all the way back to Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama, who actually allowed, I think it was 68,000 Somalis to come into the country in one fell swoop. And so he's the one that brought them in. They had no intentions of assimilating. They had no intentions of actually getting a job and working and actually contributing. No, Barack Obama was the one, apparently, like what I'm hearing is he was allegedly the one that set up all the fraud. He was the one that set up where the USAID money would go out to these NGOs and they would throw money at these programs inside of Minneapolis. And then the people in the state level, at Waltz's level, that they went and actually created programs officially with the federal government that they would download money to them every single year. And the whole goddamn thing was fraud.
Can you say buying votes?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was. And we're going to get into that later on.
Yeah, no, but what I mean is, Frey, I'm going to put a money bet on it. He does not speak Somali. He was pronouncing words. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think that idiot might have actually went to learn Somali.
I don't think he cares enough. He's in it for the money.
Well, see, a lot of Democrats that aren't Hispanic learn to speak Spanish because a lot of their constituents are. Now, personally, I mean, look, you want to get elected, but the fact is there's a lot of other things underlying that. When you bring people into the United States, now we don't have an official language. I think we should, but we don't have an official language. But if somebody came off the boat, right, what's the first thing you would tell them? Learn English, because your life will be so much better and you're going to open so many more doors when you could speak the common language, right? But no, what did the Democrats do? They allowed Hispanic people to not have to learn English. They put Spanish on all the commercials and all the signs and all the books and all the everything on menus, for goodness sake. They paid teachers, because the unions were into it, because they got extra money if you taught Spanish in a public high school.
Yeah,
if you took the Spanish kids, and here's the kicker of that. The parents, the overwhelming majority of the parents of these kids, and they didn't speak English themselves, but they were like begging the schools, teach my kid English. I may be too old to own it, but teach my children English. And the Democrats wouldn't have it because they were trying to make victims out of all these Hispanic people that were here.
I was just going to say that this is a reasonably modern phenomenon, because up until
English
fairly recently, immigrants would come over, especially Asian immigrants would come over, and they didn't speak English very well, but they spoke English in the house,
right? And
they said to their kids, "Listen, you're going to be successful. You are going to speak English better than the English do."
Right.
And so it's all about your motivation.
Ludwig got it right. They're leering English good.
Oh, that's
remember the old, because once you talk good, can't nobody change it. Remember that?
Yeah.
Sanford and Son.
So
national Democrats took the rage even further. Following the fateful shooting, the Democratic Party's official X feed promptly tweeted without any morsel of nuance that ICE shot and killed a woman on camera. Now, this sort of reckless fear-mongering may have already inspired a crazed activist to shoot 3 detainees at an ICE facility in Dallas last September while targeting officers. Similar dehumanizing rhetoric about the National Guard perhaps also played a role in November's lethal shooting of a soldier in Washington, D.C. And yet you got these freaking Democrat politicians out there who are the ones that have set this up. They're the ones that created this atmosphere, if you will. And they're the ones out there saying, oh, these guys, this Trump thing, he's just a fascist, and they're just overstepping their bounds. We don't want you in here. They have absolutely no authority over ICE. You had Gavin Newsom, I think it was this week or last, where he said that he's signing a bill where they're going to tell ICE that you have to remove your mask. And I would have said right back to, look, motherfucker, you tell your own SWAT teams to stop doing it then.
I think
SWAT force covers their face in the same manner because they don't want to be doxxed.
I think the bill is that all law enforcement have to not wear masks.
Right.
But did you see the speech that
Charlie? Good to see you.
The chief of police in Minneapolis gave, and she's going on about she doesn't know what to. Well, I don't know what to call these people. They're certainly not law enforcement, and I can't even think.
I'm telling you, man. I love when they're eating their own. Let them eat their own over this. Let them do it. Let them fight themselves.
No, but she was saying about ICE. She was saying
right. I know.
But,
I know. But these people, I mean, let them eat themselves on how they're going to define things and whatnot. Because the entire time, if you think about it, I end almost every video the same way, and it is the good news is the American people week by week are learning more. They're becoming more aware. I guess they would call it woke, but they're becoming more aware of all this bullshit that the left does. And the more that happens, the more they're going to talk to their families about it. Right? Like, think about, the family gathering. Did you see what ICE did? Yeah, but you know how many people died because Democrats let illegals into the country? There was one meme. In fact, I'll put it up. There was a meme where it had Nicole Good, and it has there, she was killed because she was trying to go against ICE, and the Democrats, the media, like, hailed her. Because she was against ICE that were trying to get rid of illegal aliens. And then on the bottom, it has all these photos of the girls that were murdered. A lot of them were murdered by illegals, and said they never said a damn thing about these. It's just insane. It's totally insane how these people on the left are behaving. We've always known there were a little bit, Fruit Loops in the head, but now they're just like Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She came out recently and said on TV, she said, look, the country we've been divided before, but now the country is divided by normal and crazy. And that's the way it is. Half the country is normal. That's everyone here. And the other half is batshit, toys in the attic crazy. And she's right. And I think they are. And they're dangerous people. How do you get along with people who they're going after law enforcement who's trying to protect you by getting illegals out of your community, violent criminal illegals out of you? How do you deal with people like that? And they have politicians that are encouraging them to be assholes to the law enforcement. And then they come out with lies like the soy boy, Jacob Frey. He came right out and said an ICE agent shot. Now let's get off this one because we already know what the story is. But let me go to this other one. Let me bring it up. It's the one of Caroline Leavitt, and she talks to a she's doing her presser. Where is it? She's doing the presser, and one of these guys, this one here. This is just, I'm going to have to get through the commercial. Sorry. Wait, I don't have any sound again. Now I forget what, hold on. Why don't I have sound? The last time I didn't have sound, something happened. Let me see what I got going on here. All right. Hang on. I'm sorry, guys. This happens every single. I hate it. It's StreamYards. They're changing. When I go in, they're changing everything. My audio. Yeah. Okay. So what the hell is it? Hang on. Sorry, guys. I'll be there in a sec. I just have to find out why I don't hear anything when I'm playing stuff. Let's see. Okay, there I heard it, but I didn't hear Caroline Levitt. Huh. So I'm wondering. You know why? Because for whatever reason, sorry, guys. For whatever reason now, I had Rumble that lowered the volume, and here I'm thinking it's a driver issue. You just can't win. All right, let me put this back.
ICE agents generally. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally. And earlier on, Secretary Nome spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE. And Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist. And it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Yeah, I love her. I know. I love her, man. I just think she's awesome. Let's see. Our weak-ass commie fascist government pretend to be angry at the Don. Well, they are angry with him, but because he's like taking down. Yeah, there's what is it? Promethean. Oh, I can't remember. It's two ladies that do a channel, and you should watch them because they're pointing out how Trump is actually destroying the UK government's ability to keep pushing globalist policies that are trying to screw the American economy, and they've been doing it for years. And he's making power moves that is pissing them off royally, but he's doing it because he knows the American people and the people in the UK would be much better off if you got rid of the globalist policies. A bomb. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're just in freaking crazy town now in the United States, and I'm sure you guys got your own things going on as well. Here we go. We have a Jennifer here. Let me pull this up. Has not today, Jennifer. A woman was arrested for punching an officer in the face during an ICE operation. They think that they have righteous indignation that they can do that. It's just unreal. It's just unreal that they think they can get away with it. So let's go. A Florida one in Florida of all places, right? A Florida woman might have wished she were in Minneapolis instead of Jacksonville, Florida, Tuesday, when she allegedly punched a state trooper in the face as she protested a neighborhood ICE operation. And now she's been arrested. Now, what's the common denominator with all these violent things with ICE? What's the common denominator there?
Crazy liberal women?
There you go. There you go. Crazy liberal women. That's exactly it. And now she's been arrested. As the media at Blaze Media report, this is WorldNet Daily, 40-year-old Jennifer Cruz didn't appreciate ICE officers' action at a Mexican grocery store on Beach Boulevard. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer, posted about the incident, saying, "This is Jennifer Cruz of Jacksonville. Jennifer disagrees with immigration enforcement and decided to commit a few felonies by getting out of her car and punching a trooper in the face. But unlike Minnesota, we don't put up with this nonsense. Not today, Jennifer. You gotta love that. You guys said what I witnessed was a traffic stop by the state trooper. Juan Alvarez said ICE agents showed up with the state trooper. They detained a driver. The person was driving. And so they had an ongoing operation going on. And after that, they had detained another person. But it seems they got into an altercation with that person. It turned violent, and that led to the presence of a lot of more, police, federal enforcement showing up. Well, of course, because that's the way it usually works.
Hey, Rich, pop quiz.
Sure.
If you're detained by law enforcement, what should you do?
You should do what the officers lawfully order you to do.
God, you're a genius.
There you go. No, actually, it's quite simple, but thank you.
Yeah, one word: comply.
Yeah, comply.
Comply. And any lawyer will tell you, even if the cop is completely off base and unconstitutional, you do not litigate it on the street.
Exactly.
You do not. You comply. You can say, you can say, I disagree, or best to say as little as possible, honestly.
Yeah.
But do not litigate it on the street. You are never going to win, and it only makes things worse.
Exactly. Now there was a video that was put out as a joke on Chris Rock's show one time. He had a show, and it was Chris Rock coming out, and he's going, all right, here's a lesson on how to not get your ass kicked by the police, right?
Yeah.
And he had these different scenarios where he said, when you get pulled over on a car, you get pulled over, and the officer comes up and says, can I see your license and registration, dude? He goes, what do you have to do? And he goes, oh, well, yes, sir, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. He pulls his license out. He goes, instead, what you all usually do is, yo, motherfucker, why'd you pull? And then you see the cops beating him on the ground. And it was like every scenario. And it was like funny, but it was to the point where you go, yeah, Chris Rock had to actually do a skit like that to get the message through. Don't stand up to police and tell them shit.
And the best one
where
was
to go on, disagree with them and fight them.
Not on the street. The best one was when he gets out of the car before the police officer, and he's on the way to the car. Hey, you mother, calling him, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you can't,
and start beating his ass on the ground.
But
that's funny.
Now, I mean, it's very plain. You are not going to win.
Right, you're not going to win. Cops are beating machines when they have to be. You're not going to win. You're not going to win.
You will not win.
Right.
And even if it is not fair, even if it is unlawful, you fight that in the courts. It may be painful.
I mean, think about it. Michael Brown, remember that case? Remember that? Well, he goes over to the cop's car while the cop's sitting in the car, reaches in the window and tries to take his pistol.
Yeah, Michael Brown, that's the selling CDs guy, right?
No, he's the guy that went into, hey, what's up, Chill? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. He's the guy that went into the convenience store and stole shit out of the convenience store, and they called the cops on him. And the cop approached him, and he tried to fight the cop. Well, at first he went in and tried to reach into the cops into the car and get literally tried to grab his gun. I mean, what was he thinking, right? So then he starts walking off, and the cop gets out of the car, and he starts running at him, like charge him, like he's gonna attack him, and he shot him. Right, dude was a big motherfucker, right? And here everybody went nuts on that, but the dude brought it on himself.
Yeah.
Let me see another good thing.
Best way to get yourself shot, just try and take the cop's gun.
All conservative. Yeah, it's good. That's good. It's always good to see that. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Oh, wow. Look at this. Anglo again. Holy mackerel. Look at this, man. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I didn't see these. I'm sorry.
Are they all different contributions?
Yeah, I never see these because when I'm reading, I don't go down to super chats. I'm really sorry, dude. It's like somebody has to tell me, and I should check that more, but I don't have a lot of them. But really, thank you, man.
I saw really these coming up, and I didn't know whether they were each one a new contribution.
Yeah, I don't see them otherwise, and you know what? And they make them that color too. So you would think it would hit me, but when
Well, that's why I said something with the first one.
oh, okay, yeah, because when I'm reading, I'm on another tab and I can't.
Yeah, because I said something, but
Thank you, sir, very much. I very much appreciate.
I'm
that.
looking at these, and I didn't know if it was just he somehow got caught in the algorithm that every time he posted it, it came up like that. I don't know, but thank you, Anglo.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's see. What's the next one we're going to do? Tampon. Oh, this is great. All right. So I'm going to wait to pull it up. I got to get through the commercial. Hang on. All right. Second commercial. Okay. So here we go. So this is Tampon Tim. Let me bring it up. This is crazy, man. So think about this. He got children, Marxist, right? He got children involved in this mess because they always use children. They got to indoctrinate the children. So he brings high school students to the state capitol to protest ICE. And this is what happened. I'm going to have to cut this out later. Look at a cop.
Who's fighting with who?
Yes, exactly.
Is it the kids fighting amongst themselves?
Yeah. Probably the pro violent criminal illegal aliens versus the pro law and order kids. But he caused this. Now, how much you want to bet? I'll bet he already has spun this to be Donald Trump's fault. How much you want to bet? He spun it to be Trump's fault. Of course he did. But this is the kind of shit that we have going on here. Oh, is it really? You sure? Hang on, because it was touted as saying, hold on, let me go back to it. Tampon Tim welcomed them. That's what it says. Oh, how about that? It has source. Hold on. Let's go. Let's follow the source.
Well, 40 usually checks
CJ
facts.
Pearson. Hold on. It was CJ Pearson, who I like. He's a good kid. Here we go on X. And he did this, but what's the year? 26 January 15th. Yeah. So he put that. So probably an old one, but he probably didn't know because he's not full of shit, this kid. He's an up-and-comer in the conservative movement. Tim Walz welcomed Minnesota school students for a walkout and protest tonight. He quickly devolved because, of course. All right, so let's see if anybody else caught it.
So do we know if the
where are they? I want to see if anybody else caught it.
If the story is legit, if the video is legit.
Oh, the video is legit, but I don't know if it was. How do you get? So here it is. Let's see. Anti-ICE agents killing Americans they don't like. Yeah, I don't see anybody saying that it was from a while ago. 40, tell me, how do you know that? You saw it? You saw the same video about 6 years ago. Well, there you go. Let's see. When walls come crumbling down, when the walls come, it's funny.
Okay, but we should be able, that this should be documented. Did he or did he not invite these kids?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see.
We should be able to document that.
I will look that up.
Yeah, whether the video is years old or not.
Students to the Capitol.
Yeah, did he or did he not invite students to the Capitol?
Protest ICE. It says, based on available reports, again, protests against ICE at Minnesota State Capitol following the incident in early 2026, there is no evidence that Tim Walz invited students to protest. Student marches to the Capitol to protest ICE operations were organized independently. Okay, so they were there, but they're saying Tim Walz didn't invite them. Let me bring it over. Share this tab instead. So it says, protest context. Students in the Twin Cities organized a march to the state capitol to protest ICE operations after an agent shot and killed in Minneapolis. All right, so it wasn't, they staged a walkout. High school students staged a walkout. So they're saying that it's real, but that Tim Walz wasn't the one who.
And the video has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. I lost my job about a year ago. Back in where. Awesome, brother. Good. Yeah. You know what? I think I was in 40's show when you announced that. Yeah. Thank you again, man, dude. You're like the bomb today. Holy man. All right, guys, we can close up shop. We got our quota. Got silver. Yeah, get some.
Thank you, Anglo.
Yeah, Anglo, dude, man.
We love you.
Yeah, dude. We love you all, but yeah, we love him a little better right now. You get it, right? Yeah, but that's crazy, man.
You know, it's.
But I'll take. You know what? 40's not wrong. 99 and 44, 100% of the time.
Yeah, you know, it's like
what he is. So.
It's like our grandpuppy, the dog we have every now and then. You know, if you've got a snack, oh, I love you best.
Yeah.
You know, you're her favorite if you're the one that has a snack.
Right. Let's see. I'm gonna get another video up. Hands off Venezuela. I don't want to do that one yet. Yeah, here's a good one. This is about Iran. They're all saying, "Oh well, we're not afraid. We're not afraid of Donald Trump. Come on, we'll put threats out against them." Right. So it says here, Breitbart says, "Rats fleeing the ship. Iran's ruling elites are frantically wiring millions abroad." Bessent says as new sanctions hit. So free Iran. I feel bad for the people there, but at least Trump stopped the executions for now, because they didn't execute that kid that they were going to, because Trump said, you know, we're going to come down on your ass if you keep executing protesters, because that's what they were doing. Because guys, I don't know if it's been reported all over the world, but Iran is like on the brink right now, like the ruling class. They're out of money, they're out of time, and the people are just, they're not caring anymore. Now, this shit could have happened back when Barack Obama was in office, when they had, remember when they were protesting then, and all Obama had to do was say, hey, we're with you. That's all he had to do, and walk away. We're with you. And it would have sent messages like, yo, you know, Obama's not going to put up with this shit. We better watch what we do. Right. But he didn't do anything. You know, he just didn't, because he wanted the Iranian regime, I believe, to become like the leader, if you're going to say like a mufti, if you will, but like the leader of Islam in the Middle East. He wanted to get rid of the Sykes-Picot boundary lines and all that. Obama was for that. So that's why I think he didn't do it. But I have no evidence of that. I'm speculating. Fact checkers. I'm speculating on that. But
and
that's
what I've heard though is that they've already killed like 12,000 protesters.
Yeah. That's what I heard too. But they're not giving up, and that's something. They're not running away. They're coming out every single day. And over there, like they cut the they cut the internet so that people can't get stuff out, but they still get stuff out. They got to go through extra things. So anyway, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced sweeping new sanctions Thursday on senior Iranian officials and regime-linked financial networks. This is why they're all wiring millions out of the country. But guess what? Those other countries are going to start saying, we ain't taking your money, bro. No, sorry, ain't doing it. But they have another system. I forget what they call it, but they have another system that they use where the money never exchanges hands. For a wire transfer, if you will, they'll have two guys and they'll get on a phone. We'll go, how much am I to give him? Well, if he has this code that I'm going to give him $10,000 and then we'll cover it. Okay. And if the guy he never sends the 10,000 over there, and the guy just gives it to him. It's all based on you're in the system, therefore you have an honor to follow. I forget the name. If anybody knows the name of that, put it up, please. Our pal, yo, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Ron, holy crap. Oh man, this guy was like best friend. He was best man at my wedding. Yeah, I missed this guy. He went out. He went out. He lives in Nancy Pelosi's district. But be nice to him anyway, guys. He's probably the only conservative, rock solid conservative out there. Yeah. What's going on, brother? How you doing? How's living in the land of the left?
Yeah, my sympathies.
Yep, GOP area leader. Yep, he was in politics here too. He was elected here as well, in my county, as a matter of fact. Yeah. All right, man. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, held office. He's a good man. Yeah. All right, let me get back to this. So Iran, Treasury Secretary Bessent, yeah, it's mounting unrest. Okay. So at the direction of President Donald Trump, Bessent said the Treasury Department is sanctioning key Iranian leaders involved in the brutal crackdown on protesters while moving to choke off the regime's sanctions evasion pipelines used to launder proceeds. There you go. From Iranian petroleum and petrochemical sales. In a video released, is the video here? Is the video here? I like to do videos. No, there's no video. Oh, no. No, I don't see the video. Oh, well, we'll go back to it then. Sorry. I was going to save us time. In a video released Thursday on X alongside sanctions announcement, Bessent said his message was directed to Iran's leadership, quote, on behalf of the people of Iran who cannot speak for themselves, before laying out how the administration anticipated and accelerated the regime's collapse. Quote, last March, we predicted that President Trump's maximum pressure campaign against the Iranian regime would accelerate an economic collapse. Since then, our sanctions efforts have been effective in slashing oil exports and cutting revenue. Now, guys, think about this. You ready? So we have, seriously, bro, dude.
I was just going to say it happened again.
Wow, dude, I'm like floored here, dude. We could really close up shop because but dude, that's awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You too can be like Anglo-Saxon,
even just partially.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, not American. Yeah. China Uncensored has some interesting points on China's involvement in Iranian machine. Yep, I know.
You know what? I'd like to see this article on could this undo 2020 changes?
Yeah, you were talking about that in the green room. All right, sure. Let me do that one.
I'd really like to see, because neither of us have seen that one, I think.
Let's see the 2020 changes. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. All right. Let me bring it up. Yeah, this is the 2020 stuff. Plus, I have some information that I can't share a lot. Hold on. Promise GG. Go to a stream. All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you for popping in. Appreciate it. You know you're always loved here. Let me bring it up now. Yeah, I got some info today, guys, and I can't give details, but the federal government has descended upon Georgia. Okay, and I'm going to start talking to the guy who you all know, by the way. He gave me the info earlier today, and what's happening is they're there. He already spoke with two FBI agents, and I believe it's an assistant U.S. attorney for an interview today. Ludwig, oh, look at this, guys. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I love you all, man. Thank you, Ludwig. Really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it, man. Let me see. Info from Mark. Yeah, it's from Mark. And I can't say what they talked about. I can't say that, but I can say that they're down there to talk about what happened in 2020. And I think it's because nothing happened, but until now. But I think it's because Trump finally said something to the DOJ. Get your asses down there and take care of this, because Brad Raffensperger lied his ass off. He edited the tape of the infamous phone call when all Trump was doing was reading the data from Mark's report about how they cheated, okay, in 2020. Mark did an analysis of the voter data. Another one. Oh, dude. This is awesome. Thank you again, man. Jeez. That's really... look at me. I'm hardly ever speechless, but we got another one. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And yeah, so apparently they're now there, and they're now fine. And there's a guy, Ken Olson, who's a big name. You should remember his name. I missed two. What two did I miss? Holy cow! Let me see. I got Ludwig. Who else was there? Anglo was again. Yeah, I thought we did that one. Wow, Anglo's doing so many. I don't know how to. I don't know how to keep track. But let me see. We got 7 of them tonight. Wow.
Yeah, it is possible you missed one by Anglo. They just were flowing there.
I know. I'm going to go over them all. Barack sounds like the American name. Yeah, it's a very American name. Barack Hussein Obama. I call him Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama. Yeah, let me see. Awesome. Hey, you got one there. And there you go. All right, dude. That's just awesome. I really appreciate that. Let me get back to live. Let's see. Who else are we here?
Let's do this.
Hey, what's up, Bass? Yeah, so let's read this one.
Get into the story.
Yeah. Let me bring this up. So SCOTUS is going to hear something. Could this undo the 2020 change that's on the rules of mail-in ballots, which were just rife for fraud? You know, the Democrats, what they did with mail-in ballots was they had a system they called the spigot system, and I've talked about it before, where you're in all 50 states in the United States. I believe it's all 50. You're allowed to purchase voter data. Now, what does that mean? You don't get to see how they voted, right? But you get to see who they are, right? They're registered. You know, you get to see all that stuff, that good stuff. So what happens is people that work in the state, you get to purchase that. Some states sell them, I don't know, $1, others up to 1,000, everything in between, right? It depends on the state for how they want to, dispatch that data to you. And what the Democrats were doing, and we know this because there's people in the know, and my friend is one of them in the know. And in fact, Brian Kemp, who is the governor there, he caught Stacey Abrams' group, Fair Fight, cheating online with registrations. Here's what they do. They take the voter data and they match the information, the name and the address and all that. They match it up to the USPS, the United States Postal Service, and they find out, did they move? And then they say, okay, so is their new address, they didn't what's in most states, if you move from one county to another, we're broken up by counties. If you move from one county to another, you have to register with the new county, telling the state, I moved to this new county. And there's a reason for that, because during elections, you have special things that you're voting for in your county, like you're voting for your county sheriff, which a lot of people go, oh, who cares? He's law enforcement. Not today. You got Democrat sheriffs out there that are a piece of crap, right? I mean, look at Minnesota, right? But and Minneapolis and all that. But so you're voting for that. You're voting for a school board. You're voting for whoever member of Congress is in your district. So when you're in a different county, you're supposed to re-register. And if you don't, you're not allowed within 30 days. If you don't of the election, you're not allowed to vote in either county, your old one or your new one. Right. And so he caught like what's his name? Mark. He caught them. It took him like almost a year because he had to keep polling the voter database himself and polling USPS, and they finally registered after, and it was building and building till it got over the 11,790 that supposedly Biden won by. Now that doesn't mean that Biden lost and Trump won. It just means that a judge, according to Georgia rules, could have ruled the election's null and void. You have to go again. And in runoffs and things like that, Republicans always win in Georgia. So that's that. But what happened was they did all this, and with mail-in ballots, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Besides going to the USPS, they also go to the Social Security database because they find out if you died. So people that either moved out of the state or moved from one county to the other but did not register, or people who died, in other words, people who would never know that they voted, right? That's who they sign their names. They sign the person's name and say, oh, I live here now, right? And they get the voter ballots and they go out. Well, it's all illegal, right? And so now, this was before mail-in. Imagine now, you just do it all electronically. So you just feed all those names that you magically found new voters. This is why, like, I did a video the other day of showing the radicalization of the Democratic Party going from Bill Clinton in 1995 to what we have today on immigration, right? So Bill Clinton, if you listen to his speech, I can play it here if you guys want to hear it. It was really good on illegal immigration. He was very against it. He did do things while in office to fight illegals at the border. He did a lot. But by the same token, okay, he created a thing called the motor voter law, which was part of the National Voter database. It was the NVRA, is what they call it, National Voter Registration Act. Okay, and among all those things was the motor voter law, because they knew. See, this is how scheming they are. They knew after a few years that blue cities would say, we want to give illegals the right to get a driver's license. Well, we have to know who they are, right? Yeah, if you know who they are and they're an illegal, then kick them the fuck out. But they didn't want to do that. So they wanted them to get driver's licenses, right? Even Hillary Clinton argued in favor of that in New York, right? Well, the reason why is because they knew that with the motor voter law, when you go to get a license, they have to hand you a registration slip if you're not registered to vote. And so that's how they were getting illegals to vote, okay? The other part of the NVRA, what it did was it told all 50, we have 50 states, so each state has a secretary of state. So it told all 50 secretaries of state that they had to hold off purging people from their voter rolls. And who do you think it was? Dead people, people that moved out, and people that moved from one county to the other. You had to hold off several years before you could purge them. Why? Well, they claim because, well, what if it's a mistake? And you go to vote and they go, hey, you're dead. And you go, wait a minute, I'm not dead. I'm right here. How do I prove that? Or they say you moved out of the state. Well, no, I didn't. I'm right here. So you got to vote by provisional ballot. It's a pain in the ass. A lot of people walk away. That's what their argument was, but it was bullshit. What they were doing was they were trying to run the spigot system. They did it in most states. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, he caught them in New York during the 2016. All right. The election commissioner literally talked to him, not knowing he was on camera, like 60 Minutes style. Right. And he admitted he explained exactly how they do it. And the undercover person said, well, the New York Times just said Hillary has a 98% chance of winning this. So are you still going to do it this time? And his literal words were, we've been doing it for 50 fucking years. What makes you think we're going to stop now? All right. But none of that ever happened. Right. That was all conspiracy theories. Right. Even though it's on video. So that's what brings us to this. So they're saying, could this undo 2020 changes? SCOTUS greenlights lawsuits in the mail-in ballot rule. So sorry, Jade, had to go down that rabbit hole. So
that was a deep rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, I know. My rabbit holes are the depth with how fucking evil and corrupt the Democratic Party is on any given subject. So the Supreme Court held Wednesday that candidates for office can challenge rules governing elections in court. In a 7-2 decision, who do you think the two were? The majority held that Republican Illinois Representative Michael Bost has standing to challenge state rules that allow mail-in ballots to be counted up to 14 days after Election Day. We used to have Election Day in the United States. Now we got Election Month. And then in some states, they call it Election Season because it goes on for months. All these gourmet voting categories that they do.
Why does it take California 3 months to come up with the final results?
I think you answered your question.
California.
Because it's California, right. Yeah. Quote, and you know what? I think there's more people in Florida than New York. There are. They have a higher population in Florida now than they do in New York. And yet New York took them 3 or 4 days to do it. And in Florida, they were done election night by like 10 p.m. They knew who won. Trump. Right? So how's that? They go, we just have too many people. Explain Florida. Shut up, bigot. So, quote, candidates have a concrete and particularized interest in the rules that govern the counting of votes in their elections, regardless whether those rules harm their electoral prospects or increase the cost of their campaigns, Chief Justice Roberts wrote in the majority opinion. Now, you got to understand something else. In Pennsylvania, our Supreme Court in 2020, they're ruled like 7-2 Democrats, okay? Radical Democrats. And so what happened was they had Mark Elias, who was the Democrats' favorite scumbag lure. Whenever they want to steal an election, they bring his team in. And he argued before that court that since this was the first time we ever voted by mail-in ballot, Act 77, which was the mail-in ballot law that the Republican legislature created for the 2020 election because of mail-in ballots. Well, they said that the deadline was 8 p.m. election night, that you can't accept any new ballots after that. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania extended that by 3 whole days. And the reason why was because they had to know how many votes do we have to fake in order to get Biden to beat Trump. That was the literal reason why they had to do it.
Yeah,
And so,
do you remember in 2020 when we went to bed, Trump was ahead or very
everywhere.
close
Right,
in a
everywhere.
whole bunch of places, and then all of a sudden, it just started notching down, Biden notching up, and by overnight, by the morning,
Yeah.
Biden had won.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but that's the whole point, and which is why this is really important stuff, because we have in our Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, gives state legislatures the authority to create election law. Okay, not courts and not an executive branch. Well, when our Supreme Court changed election law, like, it's one thing if they could say, well, you know what, that's kind of unconstitutional in that law, so we're going to strike that down. Yes, they can do that. All right, and they have to write an opinion as to explaining why, or else it gets bumped up to a federal court, then an appellate, then Supreme Court, right? But no, they actually changed election law to help the Democratic Party, and also, and they had no authority to do it whatsoever, but they did it. And who are you going to go to complain to? The Supreme Court? They already shot down Texas at that point, that had like 28 other states riding on it. Right. And they said, no standing. You know what? No standing. And it was all because Roberts was afraid of rioting. Remember that whole thing? Because of George Floyd that year, they were afraid of rioting. Well, it turns out that we also had part of the executive branch, which was Democrats. Right. There's a woman named Kathy Boockvar, and she was the Secretary of State. In the United States, your secretaries of state, they run elections. So they execute the laws that the legislature made, and they make sure that everything goes well. Well, she extended the deadline for provisional balloting by 3 days. Why? Because they needed to get a shit ton of provisional ballots, phony ones in there, to be able to say, oh, well, Biden's down by 1,000 votes. We have 3,000 provisional ballots here. This is what they did. Okay, so sorry. Quote, their interest extends to the integrity of the election and the democratic process by which they earn or lose the support of the people they seek to represent. Justices Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, guilty, dissented. Naturally.
I'm surprised it wasn't 7-3.
Yeah.
6-3.
6-3. I know. That means that Kagan actually voted with the majority.
That's interesting.
And she's the only one that was never a judge.
By the way, Anglo did it again.
You what? Oh, did he? Are you serious? Wow, dude. Yeah, I will be there. I will absolutely be there. Thank you again, man. Dude, you're like amazing tonight. Well, you're amazing every night, but you know what I mean.
But
that's awesome.
But Rich, you know, it's been documented, the dead demographic overwhelmingly vote.
Oh, they always go for the Democrats. Yeah. It's very overwhelming. You're right. So so it turns out that they're cheating, and the Supreme Court is poised now to say, you can't do that anymore. They illegally changed the voter law in the middle of the day without any Pennsylvania legislator involved. Yeah. And they're not allowed to do it. Our Constitution says they can't, but they did. Unbelievable.
You can do anything you want that you can get away with.
Yeah, if you can get away with it. And like you said, it's okay when they do it. All right, so here we go. We're going to do this one now. This is CNN, and CNN, you know, is they're just
the communist news network.
They're well, I used to say Clinton News Network, but
Clintons are so passe.
I know they
are so 20th century.
Yeah. So what media bias? Look how CNN framed inflation under Biden versus Trump. You ready? CNN is a horribly, this is the Gateway Pundit. I love those guys. Is it by Hoft? No, it's Mike LaChance. Okay, cool. CNN is a horribly biased outlet. Everyone with a brain knows this, but sometimes their bias is so stunning it deserves to be pointed out. They recently tweeted something about inflation, and one smart Twitter X user from the Daily Wire held it up alongside a similar tweet when Biden was still in office. This is what I love about how X became for most independent writers, but Daily Wire, they're not mainstream. So this is what I like about it, because before it was all libnut reporters that were there. And now, since Elon Musk took it over, he's allowing, like, all the other ones went to Blue Sky. They couldn't do, oh, you're going to hold it up to us, because he put in that the community notes that you can trash with truth. So even though the numbers are far better under Trump, the Biden era tweet sounds like good news, while the recent Trump era tweets sound negative. Let's see if we can find the tweets. Here you go. How CNN frames 6% inflation under Biden versus 2.7 inflation under Trump. So CNN says U.S. inflation is still high, but it's falling. Last month's consumer price index measured 6%, down from 6.4. Do you see what they're doing? Oh, it has a downward trend under Joe Biden. But then here we have U.S. inflation remained at 2.7. It's not going down in December, underscoring persistent cost of living challenges. Now, guys, that is our media. They're such freaking liars. That is our media. So for CNN, a 6% inflation rate, this is Emmanuel Rincon, inflation rate under Biden was considered good, but a 2% inflation rate under Trump is considered bad. So they're getting ratioed here. CNN under Biden, inflation still high, but falling. Yeah, exactly. Once you learn how to read these pricks, you can point it out in everything.
There's another one.
There, I know. Holy rat. Wow, dude. Thank you, sir. Again. Wow. That's unreal.
It's an avalanche.
I know what's going on, man. Let me see. They illegally thank you, Anglo. Seriously. They illegally changed the voter law in the middle. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Sorry. Yeah, they did. I will never get over that either, that they did that. So let's see. Nick Shirley, fraud. Caroline Levitt, we did that one.
Oh, what's this about the president's gift?
That should yeah. We'll do that one.
That should be a quick one.
Yeah. That woman. I don't know if she's going to be installed, but I don't know what's going on with that.
Who is
but
that?
Anyway, she was the one who won the presidency of Venezuela, but they stole it from her. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. She gave it to Trump. And that probably has the Nobel. They're probably going to rescind it from her because she gave it to Trump. Because Trump, she literally said when she got, and you know what? I didn't like her at first, but then I started reading her policies and what she believes. Because I thought, yeah, she's a socialist. No, she's very much for freedom. She's for privacy. She's for everything that we're all for. All right. So she gave it to Trump. But here you go. This is the actual, like before she said she was going to, but now she did. On Thursday afternoon, I wrote about how Maria Corina Machado visited the White House and had lunch with Donald Trump. While I was writing that article, some rumors were circulating about a big gesture she made, but I couldn't confirm them at the time. Now I can. The Venezuelan opposition leader, on behalf of her people, gave the president her Nobel Peace Prize, not a replica, the real thing. Since the meeting was purpose, and you know what? She didn't end a single war. That's why I was reading a lot of negative press about it. She didn't end a single war, and yet he ended, I think it was 6 at the time. It's up to 8 now, right? But then I read that she could have been killed multiple times because she's the opposite. She was the opposition against Maduro. So anyway, she gave it because she literally said, no, this should have gone. She's telling the committee, this should have gone to Donald Trump. For God's sake, he ended 6 wars, and yet they gave it to the. All right, on behalf of the people, the president gave the president her Nobel Prize, not a replica, the real thing. Since the meeting was purposely kept private, I wasn't sure that a photo would surface, but one got out as of late Thursday night. Both the White House and Machado have shared it on social media. That's great. Look at that shit-eating grin on our president. The White House. President Donald Trump meets with Maria Corina Machado of Venezuela in the Oval Office, during which she presented the president with her Nobel Peace Prize in recognition and honor. Let me fix something I said earlier. I don't know if she won and they took it from her, or if that was another one of these crazy-ass rogue countries. But I know she was the opposition leader, and they tried to kill her multiple times. Trump also mentioned the meeting on Truth Social. It was my great honor to meet Maria Corina Machado of Venezuela today. She is a wonderful woman, and I thought he hates women, right? She is a wonderful woman who has been through so much. Maria presented me with her Nobel Peace Prize for the work I have done. Such a wonderful gesture of mutual respect. Thank you, Maria. You got to love that. And they say, Trump's just a bastard. Yeah, okay. All right, thanks. Thanks for playing.
And doesn't like smart, powerful women.
Yeah. He doesn't like powerful women. Unreal. Let's see. Let me get some videos in there because I always like those. Yeah, what's happening in Iran? In fact, this is a woman that I watched. This is pretty good. Okay, let's bring it up. She's talking about like what's going on like right now.
This TikTok is blocking it, and we need your help. What you're not being told is that Iran is going through a full-scale revolution. They're saying it's a protest about economy, gas prices, and inflation. It's about human rights. And people are in the streets right now getting slaughtered because they want to live without fear. They want freedom of speech. They want control over their bodies. They want the right to choose how they live, how they dress, how they think, how they believe. And they're also rejecting the entire system where religion controls the state. Iranians are done being ruled by clerics. They're done with laws enforced in the name of Islam, done with an Islamist government that decides every part of their life. This is a full-scale revolution against the entire Islamic Republic. Millions of people are out there. They're not armed. They're not attacking anyone. The regime is shooting them. People are being killed for standing in public and asking for freedom. The internet has been shut down so the world cannot see it. And this is where the story gets really uncomfortable. In the West, the leftist narrative keeps explaining this regime instead of listening to the people living under it. They call it culture, they call it religion, they call it complicated, but Iranians are saying very clearly the system is destroying our lives and we want out. Here in the US, President Donald Trump already said what would happen if the regime started killing its own people. He said there would be hell to pay. He said that the US was locked and loaded. Now people are being killed. The people that were killing themselves over Gaza are now very, very quiet when it comes to Iran. This is why this matters. Not later, not after another news cycle, right now. People inside Iran are risking their lives just to be seen and heard. They cannot post freely. They cannot call newsrooms. They cannot pressure politicians, but we can. If millions of people outside Iran speak up at the same time, news agencies are forced to pay attention, politicians are forced to answer questions, silence becomes much harder to maintain. This is why I've already written a text. It is in the caption of this video. It includes the hashtags. It includes the politicians to tag. It includes the news outlets. All you have to do is copy it, add your name, and tweet it. People in Iran are doing their part that costs blood. The least we can do is make sure the world is watching.
Exactly. People in Iran right now. I've always said that hold on, anyone forget to hit? Oh, thank you, Kara. Yeah, everybody hit the like button if you can. It actually does help us, and I appreciate it. Hey, what's up, Chris? What's going on? What's BS? I wasn't paying attention to the chat because again, I was reading or playing the other. I was on another tab. Sorry. Let's see. What's another video? Hold on. Oh, where am I? No, that's not. Are you shitting me? Huh. You've got to be kidding. Here we go. All right. So let's do.
Do we want to hear about Jasmine Crockett?
Yeah, we will. It's just, hold on. I want to play this other one. Yeah, this is the one. This is awesome. This is another, it's a Benny Johnson, but it's great. Watch this. I love this. CNN panics after kids roast Kamala. So in other words, CNN, like they did after Katrina, they tried to trash the Bush administration, and the people down there were like, no, we don't blame Bush at all. We blame our own local government. So, and they were like, yikes. So here we go. Ready?
The kids are, we've been telling you the kids are based for a long time. CNN went and spoke with a bunch of grade school kids, and yeah.
It'd be good for us to have a black woman as president for the first time in history.
Yeah.
But my vote's kind of still on Trump.
Which one do you think is more selfish?
Like selfish, probably her.
Kamala Harris?
Yeah, because girls are a little bit dramatic sometimes. Donald Trump, he's given his life and his heart.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
Do you think people would be bothered at all by the fact that Kamala Harris is, half black and half
No.
Indian American?
No, because Barack Obama was elected twice, served all 8 years.
And which one do you think is tougher? Donald Trump?
Because he did survive a gunshot. He's also pretty brave.
You gotta love it, man.
Fucking grade school kids.
Yes, the kids are getting it.
Aces.
Yeah, the kids are getting it because their parents are getting it.
Okay, actually, you know what? You had mentioned this before. What the heck is that?
I don't know what does it mean, Bass? Translate, please.
Please, yes.
Because I can't copy that and translate it myself.
What? Yeah, Google Translate. We started talking about liberal women, and you were going to read that story. That's
which one is it?
With the new theory on liberal women's.
Oh yeah. That is the one. Yeah,
I don't think we got to that one.
No, we didn't, and we're going to do it right now. Thank you. All right, so this is a new theory on liberal women's obsession with immigration. Here we are. So, Grant here, as we're all well aware, this is from Cypher News, which I like. We're all aware liberals aren't exactly in the most sane of places right now, especially liberal women who have been suffering an ongoing mental breakdown over the past 10 years or so. There are a lot of theories out there as to why liberal women are constantly losing their shit. But a couple posts on X present some theories that are especially interesting. Let's break it down. The first post on X presents that women by nature are highly empathetic. Okay. However, with the heavy introduction of SSRIs, birth control, and other drugs, it seems that perhaps women are losing their true empathy and instead are becoming more narcissistic with just overall more emotionally stable. Following that theory is a raging liberal woman who pretty much completely backs up all of the facts presented. Her eyes are literally bulging out of her head, and she's spouting some absolutely insane ramblings about how nothing is real, identity is fake, and liberals should all just register Republican because the system itself is imaginary.
Just register Republican. Just register Republican. You're a blue dot in a red area. Just register Republican. Then you get a say in who gets to be their primary candidate. Register Republican. Just register Republican. It doesn't matter. You can go online. That little card doesn't make a difference. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can just register Republican. Let's all just register Republican. We can all register Republican. What will happen if the Republican Party and the MAGA Party all starts getting crazy leftist LGBTQ folk and we can all just register Republican? There's nothing stopping them. If they're going to round up all the leftists and the Democrats, we can all just register Republican. It's all fake anyway. It's all made up. Register Republican. You can vote for whoever you want in the general elections, but in the primaries, you would have a voice in a less crazy candidate, maybe making it to the last stage of the game here. Just register Republican. Just do it. Just register Republican. Nobody's going to stop you. You can do anything you want. Just register Republican.
You gotta love that. Oh my God, that was crazy. Oh, here we go. Anglo again, brother. Whoa, dude. Thank you again. Thank you so much. That's awesome, dude. That's like 10 times, I think. Holy cow. Wait a minute. Is it? Yeah, it's like 8. Holy mackerel, dude. 8 or 9. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Brother, thank you, man. Giving weapons to Iran. It's a mad world. Yeah. Bass, did you say what you were here? Is that what it means? Here we go again. Privyet. Da. Говорите по-русски, Ludwig. Let's see. Say госпожо Gizier. Let's see what's the next one. I want to do another video. Hold on. Independent journalist. Let's watch this. This I got to get through. Sorry, got to get through the commercials. It's Rumble. Everybody's using Rumble now because you can't run certain things on this network. Hang on. All right, Here we go. Let's bring this guy in. All right. Pull it up. All right. So this is independent journalist finds an insane number of hospice care fraud fronts in one California building.
All right, you guys. So I had to actually get my way in here because the numbers weren't working to be paged in. But look at what this is uncovering. Hospice, home health care, Allegiance Home Health, Honeywell Home Health, Wellspring Home Health, Golden Touch Home Health, Amazing Health, Dignity Care Hospice, Moonlight Hospice Incorporated, Thousand Oaks Hospice Incorporated, Premier Home Care Agency, Altruistic Hospice Incorporated, Capital Hospice Care Incorporated. Some of those don't even have signs on their doors, and the ones that did weren't answering or had a Ring camera. There were 2 people that were actually in the office. They gave me brochures and numbers, so we're gonna find out what's going on. And I walked 7 more feet, and what do we have? Sheltering Arms Hospice Care.
Sheltering Arms.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And you would think like that the state would like, go like run some kind of an audit and go, wait a minute. How the hell do we have this many hospice care units in one building?
Dude, another building with several agencies.
Now, you got to think of something, guys. I was thinking about this with the Nick Shirley stuff. Ready? Follow me on this. So, Barack Obama, when his economy, when he had like 8.5% unemployment, people weren't working. It just was for shit, his economy, right? But he kept people happy because he lowered the standards to get on Medicaid, right? And other like WIC, like all kinds of things, so that like people that were middle class were able to get in there, right? And so he made, which you would, half the people would say, well, that's great. He helped them out. Yeah, but we're fucking paying for that. I mean, we're all paying for that through taxes, right? And so think about this. Democrats in blue cities, they've run out of ideas on how to, make their people's lives better. So what they started doing, I'm just thinking here, because we've seen, Jay, what is it, like 4 different types of fraud now in Minnesota alone? And so now we have this, and we had it in Washington State. Now we have this in California. They're finding, and how much you want to bet they're going to find out thousands of hospice care units that don't exist, but they're getting shit tons of money from the feds and from the state taxes, right? So how much you want to bet they were doing this? They allowed this kind of crap so that they would get votes. It's all for votes to stay in power. Now, if Trump shuts that down, the ramifications of U.S. aid going away alone are going to be huge. We haven't seen it yet, but it's going to, because it's still too early, but it's going to be huge because you're not going to get those NGOs getting the money that they throw out to foreign globalist organizations that just trash Republicans and America in general, right? Well, imagine this, if they shut down all this fraud, and so they don't have the money to do these things, like to be able to send it there anymore. Like, who are they going to send it to? Right? If they if they catch the people that are doing all this fraudulent money, these programs, man, there's no one there. What's up? It's okay. You can go upstairs. Go. My dog's like yelling at me. You gonna go upstairs with me? No, I'm not. All right, I got another one. Let me play this one. There's this Muslim woman, or a Muslim, and Islam gets exposed. So we got to watch this till the end. This is pretty good. My source is usually good on this stuff.
To marry a 6-year-old.
All right, see, now you're doing disrespect. He was the pure messenger of Allah, like he was the pure messenger of God. So God gave him the.
How is he pure?
He's pure. All the prophets are pure. All of them are pure.
What's the evidence that Muhammad's pure, though?
Okay, do you know what she's doing? What's she doing?
Well, I don't understand. What do you mean? What is she doing?
What she just said. What's the evidence? Who does that? It's the Socratic method. When somebody gives you a bullshit story, the first thing you say is, well, what evidence do you have to show that? And, if they can't answer right away, they're full of shit. I noticed. I picked it up right away.
What's the evidence that he's not pure?
What?
Okay.
You gotta be just
All prophets are pure.
All have sinned, fallen short.
They're unable to sin.
No,
If you're a prophet,
Muhammad,
you are pure. You might sin, but you go back. You can't say that Muhammad is sinful or anything because he's not. He's pure. Like
so it's pure to marry a 6-year-old?
Okay. If that's what y'all gonna go with, prophet, like parents would marry off their daughter in order for this land, or parents would marry off their daughter in order for this and that.
Not what he did.
It's like the same thing with that.
They still consummated when she was 9 years old, though.
He is pure. He's married to her. Was he not married? Is
She
marriage?
was 9
Did you hear this? Well, he was married to her. Was it not legal? Oh my goodness.
years old.
All right. See, now you're doing disrespect.
That's disrespectful.
Just because I said that it was wrong that Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old, we walked
She's lucky she didn't get her throat
away
slit.
from that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. In Indonesia, in one of the islands in Indonesia, there was a small newspaper, and like that stories would have never gotten out of this one little village, right? And they did a story that that Muhammad may have been a pedophile, right? And I think there were like 25 murders that happened because Indonesia is one of the I think it is the largest Muslim nation in the world, right? It's just a series of islands, but they're all Muslim there. And so they just went ape shit. They lost their minds, started just slaughtering people in the streets. They went to that newspaper, burned it down, beat the hell out of it, killed people. There's like 25 deaths and shit. So that girl's lucky, that people that they didn't hear that, Oh my goodness, that would have been something.
The interesting thing is, he's talking from a point of faith. He's already assuming that Muhammad was a prophet.
Right.
And the interesting thing about any religion is faith. And one of the problems with the Socratic method application is that if you can prove it, it's not faith.
No, I think what his problem was with this, I hear what you're saying, but I think what his problem was he said that he was pure, and she asked him, what evidence do you have to show he was pure? And he didn't put evidence up. He made a declarative statement. He didn't make an objective statement.
Well,
so his declarative statement was called performative truth, right? What he said was, well, he was a prophet. Well, that didn't answer her question.
It's just circular logic. He was pure because he was a prophet, and he's a prophet because he was pure.
Exactly. But she asked him for the evidence, and he didn't give it to her.
Yeah. The problem is his reaction to that. And the only legitimate reaction, not that I would agree with it, but the only legitimate response would have been, that's my faith, and that, that too, don't argue, it's stupid, but that's my faith, and that's the central belief, and we assume that about Muhammad. That's the only thing that would be actually valid, not necessarily truth or provable.
Right.
It's like if somebody asked you to prove that Jesus Christ was the Son of God.
Right.
The point is, that's the basis of Christian faith. It's faith because it can't be proven by science.
Yeah, well, that's like the Brondo argument. Like you ever see that Idiocracy?
Never did.
Brondo has what plants crave. Brondo has electrolytes. Do you even know what electrolytes are? Well, yeah, it's the thing that they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, that's the kind of circular logic, but there's a fine line, because I firmly believe in faith. I'm right there, but it's a funny thing. Faith is by definition something that you can't prove.
Right. Yeah. Let's bring this up.
Anyway, move on. Next article.
Tim Walz is just out of his mind. Ready?
When is he going away?
What?
When is he going away?
I don't know. Let me refresh it.
Here's the thing that I'm going to ask all of you is, Republicans want to tear this state down. Republicans want to tell you it's too dangerous to walk down the streets. Republicans want to tell you there's nothing good comes out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Republicans want to tell you everybody with brown skin is stealing money, or that they're not welcome here. They want to do nothing to improve this state.
How? Y'all run the state.
Their idea of improving this state is being a parrot for Donald Trump, agreeing to everything that he.
No, their idea for improving the state is getting bums like you out of office who allowed $1.2 or $6 billion in fraud per year to go through your office.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. It ain't happening. I'm not going anywhere. And you can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Will that happen?
Well,
the good news is
technically he's right. He hasn't resigned.
Right. He's a lunatic, though, to say something like that. I mean, think about it. To say something like that. You know, the Republicans don't want to do anything. Oh, really? That's like saying, well, how come the Republicans haven't fixed California?
Well,
you know,
just think if a Republican governor had issued some similar type of rhetoric against Obama.
Right.
You know,
right.
And think what that would have done.
Oh,
There'd have been riots in the streets.
Yep. Abso-freaking-lutely.
You know, like if a Republican governor would have started with that level of rhetoric regarding him bringing in illegal immigrants and planting them in his cities, for instance.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the lib nuts would be rioting in the streets.
Let's do the Gavin Newsom. Look at that grin. Look at that. Hey, you doing? Yeah. Gavin Newsom, quote, California cooperates with us. California Governor Gavin Newsom claimed that his state cooperates with federal immigration authorities despite its sanctuary policies and years of hostile rhetoric toward immigration and customs enforcement, ICE. The remarks from Newsom come just months after violent anti-ICE riots rocked California. Newsom made the assertion during the interview with the Daily Wire editor Ben Shapiro, who pressed the governor on California's sanctuary status and his repeated attacks on ICE. Most recently, Newsom's press office suggested that the shooting of a woman who drove her car toward an ICE agent in Minneapolis amounted to state-sponsored terrorism. We work very differently with ICE as it relates to California prisons. See, when you have an illegal alien as a prisoner, in the old days when Democrats actually respected law and order, they would allow the federal agents for whatever. It could have been a Treasury agent, could have been an FBI, could have been anything, right? They would allow them to go in and apprehend them, because then the state would say, okay, we're officially transferring him to you. He's in your jurisdiction now. Cha-ching, we save money, right? They would allow that shit. All right.
Now, I don't know if I heard you wrongly, but it says we work very directly.
Yeah.
With ICE.
Yeah, I know. As it relates to California prisons, they said.
Yeah.
So that's why I went into the California prisons thing, because they're
now
saying, no, we're not letting you go in. And it says California has cooperated with more ICE transfers than probably any other state in the country. Well, maybe that's because you got more illegals than any other state in the country. Quote, and I vetoed multiple pieces of legislation that have come from my legislature to stop the ability for the state of California to do that. So when it comes to the issues of violent criminals, when it comes to felons, people that are being released from the largest state system in the United States of America, California cooperates with ICE. Newsom told Shapiro the California prisons had transferred 10,000 illegal aliens to ICE. However, data from his time as governor complicate that claim. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, and the Center for Immigration Studies is something you want to look up because they got accurate numbers, as accurate as you can get. From October 1, 2022 to February 6, 2025, 52% of all ICE detainers nationwide requests asking local law enforcement to hold illegal aliens arrested for crimes were issued in California. That amounted to more than 13,000 detainers, far exceeding the next highest total of 2,946 in Illinois. Despite Newsom's insistence that violent offenders are prioritized, law enforcement agencies in California released at least 29 illegal aliens facing homicide charges or convictions during that same period. They released them. Local law enforcement officials have repeatedly cited state and local sanctuary policies as barriers preventing cooperation with ICE after arrest. Now, I'm going to say this. I think sanctuary cities are unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is known as the enumerated powers. It gives the Congress the power to create an uniform rule of naturalization. I had it in a video this week. And what that means is that the federal government has all the authority, not just some, all the authority for immigration laws. So when you create a sanctuary city, you are in essence creating an immigration law. No, I'm not. No. If you are stepping on or trying to supersede federal law, you can't do that. Now, I know that the libnuts always get this wrong, but there is a thing called the supremacy clause. And all that means is that a power that the federal government has, and that doesn't mean, although a lot of lawyers would try to argue with me, but I think I'm right, that, what it means is that the law that you're talking about, the federal law, has to be constitutional, which means that it has to be one of the 18 enumerated powers or an amendment. Every other power the federal government gives to itself is unconstitutional, because they're supposed to go through the amendment process. So when they created Obamacare, Medicare, all the bullshit that they created, right? I don't think any of it's legal because they did not go through the proper channels. They don't have in other words, the 10th Amendment even backs this up. It says anything that the United States, they meant the federal government, they said that the United States wants the power of, they pretty much got to ask the people or the state for the permission to do it, and that's called an amendment. And they don't do that shit. So when you create a sanctuary city where you are superseding an actual federal power, it's unconstitutional. I am shocked that no one took this to the Supreme Court. Now, Trump, to his credit, last week I heard that he said that from now on, we do not recognize sanctuary cities. It's enough. We've put up with it. It's not real. You know, it's like you're like dudes, we have a sanctuary city. Well, that's not real. What do you mean that's not real? You can't do that. Well, we did it. Well, you can't do it. So we're undoing it. And that's what's going on right now. To walk back on terrorism rhetoric. During the interview, Newscomb conceded that criticism of his press office's rhetoric toward ICE was fair and distanced himself from calls by fellow Democrats to abolish the agency entirely. Let's see what. State-sponsored terrorism. That's what he wrote in January. State-sponsored terrorism. His administration has driven extremism and cruelty while discarding basic safeguards and accountability. Bullshit. His reckless crackdown must end. Bullshit.
You know what I say?
This is what we voted for. That's what I say.
More.
Yeah,
More.
This is what we voted for. I'm sorry, but guys, I have to show this again because it was so good. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. I have to show this again.
Just register Republican. Just register Republican. You're a blue dot in a red area. Just register Republican.
Why
Then
do
you
I
get a
just
say
go?
in who gets to be their primary candidate? Register Republican. Just register Republican. It doesn't matter. You can go
Look at her.
online. That little card doesn't make a difference. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can just register
Look at her.
Republican. Let's all just register Republican. We can all register Republican. What will happen if the Republican Party and the MAGA
Look-
Party all starts getting crazy leftist LGBTQ folk and we can all just register Republican? There's nothing stopping them. If they're going to round up all the leftists and the Democrats, we can all just register Republican. It's all fake anyway. It's all made up. Register Republican. You can vote for whoever you want in the general elections, but in the primaries, you would have a voice in a less crazy candidate, maybe making it to the last stage of the game here. Just register Republican. Just do it. Just register Republican. Nobody's gonna stop you. You can do anything you want. Just register.
I'm going to save that.
You know, in the dictionary next to the entry of crazy lady, there's a picture of that woman.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, what did I say?
That is awesome. I don't know. LOL, Dr. J.
What did I say, Charlie?
You said something. I forget.
Something. Anyway, thank you.
Things that were funny.
I think.
Yeah, tonight. So I don't know which one. Let's do another. Let's see. Multiculturalism is not our strength. How long is this? Hang on. I got to get through the commercial. Sorry. Come on.
Yeah, in
Oh,
that
here we go.
in that previous remark about never argue with stupid, he's right, because all they do when you argue with a stupid person, they just bring you down to their level and then beat you with experience.
I feel sorry for her cats. That's what I put, dude. You saw my cure for your Trump derangement syndrome once and for all, right? That video. Well, I have so much fun on Facebook when the lib nuts just go off and on Trump and like he's a fascist, he's a dictator. I'm like, yeah, if he was, you wouldn't be able to say this shit. But I always use that link and I go, here, this may help feel better. And they come back screaming at me more after they watch it. I love it. So I'm going to keep that woman. Just register Republican. I'm just going to keep that. All right, let's see. Let's bring this one in. This is one. Multiculturalism is not our strength. It's amazing that somebody had to actually make a video to tell the libnuts that.
What is multiculturalism and why should you hate it? Prior to 1965, the United States operated under a national quota system.
Yeah, it was Ted Arrett, why couldn't the bitch hold her breath, Kennedy, who created that Nationality Act of 1965 that completely switched how we bring people in. We used to bring the best of the world, which was you European people. We brought a bunch of European people in to make America great, right? But then he said, no, we got to start bringing them from shithole countries because they knew that they would become dependent on government, and you never vote against the hand that feeds you. So that was Ted Kennedy.
That prioritized immigration from Europe. The explicit purpose of the system was to preserve America's Western cultural inheritance and its historically Christian character.
Yes.
In 1965, however, Congress passed the Hart-Celler Act, which abolished national origin quotas and replaced them with a system based on occupational skills rather than place. The law also framed any preference based on nationality or culture was discriminatory. The result was a dramatic influx of foreigners. Millions flooded in from non-European regions, often without assimilation. Many brought with them their own religions, languages, customs, and cultural loyalties, fundamentally altering America's demographic and cultural makeup. It was the beginning of our national suicide. In 1965, the United States was roughly 90% white and overwhelmingly Christian. Today, these numbers sit around 55%. Now, why does this matter? Because multiculturalism consistently produces internal conflict. When multiple groups with competing religions, histories, languages, and moral frameworks are placed within the same political system, conflict erupts. Each group fights over government power, law, and preference. Many assume that secularism would serve as a neutral referee, but neutrality is an illusion. The question is never whether a nation will be shaped by religion, but which religion will shape it. Jesus himself warned, every kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Stable societies required shared language, shared history, shared values, and of course, shared religion. National cohesion depends on unity at the deepest level. In short, nationalism may produce conflict between nations, but multiculturalism produces conflict within nations. So what are the next steps? Ending mass immigration, encouraging non-Christian cultures to re-immigrate, deporting millions of illegal immigrants, and urging heritage.
In other words, America first, Trump.
American Christians to pursue public office in order to protect their descendants from being ruled by foreigners.
Yep. There you go.
He forgot to mention deporting Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, I listened to a lawyer analyze, and it would be very, very difficult to
what?
Denaturalize her, I guess.
Well, I don't know about that. They do it all the time to people. They do it a couple hundred times a year to people.
Well, yeah, if you lie about being a member of the Nazi Party or something,
yeah,
they'll do that.
Well, she lied about who her family was and why she needed to come here from that refugee camp in Kenya. Oh, dude.
Holy shit, Anglo.
Damn, Anglo, man. I ever come to your neck of the woods, I'm buying you pints all night long. Bro.
There you go.
I'm serious.
But anyway,
Thank you, sir.
I agree with Anglo.
Deport them all. Absolutely.
What were we talking about before Anglo interrupted us?
He interrupted us with a donation.
Yeah. Well, it's like, You know, it's like your dog sitting there and going, "Oh, a squirrel."
Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ilhan
We were
Omar.
talking about.
It's actually really difficult to denaturalize someone. You have to have lied about like you can commit a crime here and they'll
Right. But if you lied on your way coming in, and
so,
she violated. Go ahead, finish.
But you've got to prove that, and a lot of things are settled. The one thing I've heard that is going to be something that you should be able to prove is that when she was naturalized, it was under her father's naturalization, and she said she was 18, but apparently she was 19.
Yep.
Or what happened was at one point her year of birth changed by one.
Yeah, well, I think they would allow that, but she lied in that her family, like they said that it was because of the war that was going on, the revolution that was going on in Somalia. And the problem is that they lied because her family were the communist government that the people were fighting against. And they never told the United States that.
Yeah, so she told the truth. It was because of the war in Somalia.
Yeah, but she withheld that other shit. Yeah. But she lied. She violated immigration law to help her brother get in. Trump got that one wrong. He said, well, it was to help her get in. No. Her brother had to go to college here. He didn't go. From what, this is speculation again, because it's what I think I heard. The brother had to go to college, and he didn't go in the time he was supposed to. His visa expired, and so she married him in order to allow him to stay here so he could go to college. And then she was married to someone else at the same time.
Yeah, there's...
According to Islam, shouldn't they behead her or something?
No. That you see, the thing is that she was married in front of a Christian pastor. And
I'm sorry. Hold on, Linda. What's up, girl? How you doing? Good to see you. Go ahead. Yeah, you're right. Go say that.
She was the marriage to the brother was in front of a Christian pastor, and the thing is, Islam doesn't care about that. It's meaningless to them.
Right.
And so
the reason why. Give the reason why they had to do that.
Yeah, the fact that it means something to the state, but it means nothing to her in the community because whatever the pastor said has no strength to them.
And it was because the imam would have known who they were and that they were related as siblings.
Well, but
wouldn't have allowed.
You get back to the first thing I said. Yes, she committed immigration fraud, but that was just a crime she committed while she was a naturalized citizen. I'd throw her ass in jail or whatever the appropriate appropriate penalty is for that, but you can't denaturalize her for that one.
Let me say.
Yeah, I listened for 20 minutes to a lawyer analyze the whole thing.
It says a person's naturalization can be revoked either by civil proceeding or pursuant to a criminal conviction. For civil revocation of naturalization, the United States Attorney's Office, must file the revocation of naturalization actions in federal district court. So that's how it goes. It would be Pam Bondi's call, and Pam Bondi hasn't done shit.
Yeah.
Since she's been in. I mean, she's doing stuff behind the scenes, but she.
Listen.
In other words, the whole Epstein thing, she should have kept her mouth shut on, and she should have been bragging about all the other stuff she's doing behind the scenes to set up all these court cases that are about to come.
Yeah,
because she's not talking about Brennan, Brennan indicted and all that. We're not hearing anything about that.
Yeah, at least she's better than her predecessor.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, buy me a coffee's up there, bro. It's the very first comment.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's the very first comment, Bass. Hey, Bass, what did you say in Russian? I don't read it, but I speak some of it, so I couldn't read it. The acrylic. Let me see. What else are we going to do? Let's see. Another one. Do boom. Leftist threatens federal immigration agents to immediately earn. Yeah, here we go. This is another good one. Hang on, come on. Yeah. Hold on. No, that won't play for some weird reason. Oh, well. Sorry. Let's go to the next one then. Jeez.
Are we up in the list now?
Kamala knew what she was doing. Oh, here's a good one. This is one, the popcorn. This is Doc Rich. I like him. Yeah, we're up top. This is Doc Rich. He's saying that Kamala knew what she was doing. Ready?
Because it's going to be one hell of a show. I promise you, it's coming.
Watch
I'm
it.
telling you right now, Kamala knew what she was doing when she picked Tim Walz as VP. She knew running for president wasn't about running for president for them. It was about expanding their operation. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, changed the state flag to ironically resemble the Somali flag.
Can you imagine that?
And now people in other blue states are investigating their own child care centers and their own adult care centers and seeing the same pattern. The fraud is going to be so extensive, so widespread, nationwide. They're not going to have the resources to shut it down.
Nope.
They're going to have to call in the military.
Yep.
Tribunals 2026. It's coming.
You love that, man.
Yeah, just defund. That's what Trump's doing. Just completely defund.
Yeah, I know. Let me say this. Hey guys, this is Allison. She's from a political group. We go back. She's from a political group that I was in with Mark, as a matter of fact. And we used to just combat the living hell out of the libnuts. So say hi to her, be nice to her. Allison, this is everybody. So
hi, Allison.
Let's see. What's the I'm sorry, what were you saying? I interrupted you. Sorry. Go ahead. Boom, leftist woman threatens.
Yeah, no, I was talking about completely defunding these the states that are doing this shit. Just completely defunding. In fact, I'd keep going. I'd withdraw every federal office and take out all federal personnel. So there's no visa passport office. There's no Social Security office. There's no FBI branch. Nothing. Take all federal personnel out of there, and then let them stew. And if they need somebody, Trump will send in who they need, i.e., a lot of armed people.
Yeah. Let's see. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna bring it up. I'll let you or anybody else pick what we're gonna do next. Here we go. So we went through ICE, the Gestapo. We went through all this. Let me get rid of that. We didn't do the Nick Shirley. He exposes fraud, tax. But yeah, here's another fraud. These bastards.
That's just
all
another one.
This is Breitbart. Yeah, I know. It's another one, but we got to do it. So this is like 5 frauds that they have now up there. All right. So Nick Shirley exposes fraud in Somali-run taxpayer-funded taxi companies. Can you believe this shit? Nick Shirley's latest video shows him visiting several addresses in Minneapolis that supposedly provide taxpayer-funded taxi services for poor and unhealthy people. Let's just get down to the video. I want to see the video. Where's the video? There must be there's no video. Holy shit. There's no video. Oh, well, I'll just read a little bit. We'll go through it. The ethnic Somalis that he meets at the sites respond by yelling at him, but do not try to offer any evidence that their taxpayer-funded groups are providing any services to Americans. Well, that's just how it goes, right? Shirley's exposures have compelled local pro-Democrat journalists to acknowledge and describe the fraud that they have long overlooked. Let's just face it, guys. Barack Obama put 68,000 Somalis into that hellhole state. And every Democrat since then said, I want their votes. Therefore, we're going to give them whatever the hell we want. Now, they didn't want to assimilate into American society. So a lot of them don't speak English. And a lot of them didn't want to get jobs, right? So what did they do? They had people like Ilhan Omar and Frey, Jacob Frey, and Tampon Tim Walz, who come out of the woodwork and go, yeah, we'll do everything we can, but how are we going to create these? Oh, that's right. President Barack Obama, who brought those 68,000 in, he created the pipelines to make it possible for you guys to buy their votes and keep them in your blue state for the rest of their natural lives. So this bullshit is all now being taken down. And of course, we didn't expect for the Tim Walz and the Jacob Frey, right, to actually say, yeah, I'm guilty, right? We didn't think they weren't going to fight back. This is what happens. I likened this in a video I did during the week to when this whole thing with the ICE shit going on right now, to remember back in Katrina. In Katrina, the local government, their mayor, remember, he took off and he took off with his family and went to Mississippi and said, fuck that, I'm not sticking around, right? And then you had the state government, I called her Governor Blanco, right? That moron. She waited like George W. was flying his plane over and said, look, you got a Category 5 hitting you like within hours. I think you ought to do an evacuation. Oh, thank you, we'll get back to you. And then she waits an extra like 18 hours to tell them get the hell out, right? And so they wonder why so many people were caught there. And so then FEMA comes in and they're the only ones that actually did anything. But what happens to Democrats? Remember that? It was the first time you scratched your head going, how the fuck can they say that FEMA was bad? FEMA was the only one that did anything good for the people in New Orleans, right? And, well, Bush is racist. FEMA didn't want to help people, black people in certain neighborhoods and whatnot. And here we're like, what the hell was that all about? Well, it turns out that what was going on was the federal government under the Bush administration, they had sent over $1 billion to New Orleans, and it was supposed to go towards the Army Corps of Engineers. See, for those that don't know, our friends in the UK and whatnot, New Orleans is underwater. Okay, the city's actually below sea level, and they have these levees that keep the water out. Well, because they're Democrats that run the city, there's 5 different levees, and each levee has their own what like a board of commissioners or whatever. Okay, and because they all fight to get money from the state and the feds, right? If they come up with a really good idea for their levy, they don't share it with anyone else. Imagine this shit. They're all going to die if one of the levies goes down. They're all going to die, right? But they don't give a shit. So they just want the money that they can get to their levy because it's money for them, right? So all that shit's going on, and they actually squandered the money. They did it for things like they used the money to pay to repair statues around the city that were damaged by drunk guys wearing beads. Or they had to fix and re-renovate pubs that were destroyed by drunk guys wearing beads, right? Or they put it into golf courses, right? And other bullshit like businesses that they had no right to do because the money was appropriated for the levies. Okay, so they had what was her name? It was Senator forget her last name, but Lorraine or Lahine, I forget her last name, but she was a U.S. senator, and she cooked the books for the state to keep the auditors out for a while. And then finally, the Bush administration said, look, you've had enough time. This is bullshit. We're coming in. We're going to do the audits. And they couldn't have that. So they were lucky enough to have Katrina hit, because that's why they scream bloody, oh, he's a racist. Look at him. He won't do anything for the people in New Orleans. Meanwhile, that dumbass mayor went against the protocol that they had set up and sent everybody to that stadium. Remember that? You weren't supposed to go to the stadium. They had hundreds of school buses lined up, and all the drivers ran like hell and got the hell out of there, right? They had kids that were they were stealing the buses and driving down their neighborhood saying, get in, we're getting the hell out, right? Yeah. They wanted to blame Bush. Well, what the F does anybody think this bullshit with ICE in Minnesota is about? They just got told that the federal government is about to descend on Minneapolis specifically, but Minnesota overall, because of all the fraud that's coming out of there. So what do? Like you said, look, a squirrel, right? So now they're coming up with all this anti-ICE bullshit because they want just like, because it worked in New Orleans. We never heard about all the fraud and the misappropriation of funds, right? Because they had to deal with Katrina and the accusations of racism. So they just dropped the audit, all right? So they don't understand. This is Donald Trump. That shit's not going away. They're coming no matter what. He doesn't care, right? So let's get back to it. Shirley's exposures have compelled local pro-Democrat journalists to acknowledge and describe the fraud that they had long overlooked. That silence was likely forced by career-threatening pressure from Democratic politicians and activists who gained from the Somali-managed fraud. Yeah, you know they're getting kickbacks, these Dems, all right? The latest video focuses on the Somali-run companies that are paid to taxi poor or unhealthy people to and from government services, hospitals, retail stores, and their homes. Quote, these transportation companies are what hold all of the aid and welfare fraud together, Shirley says in the video. Quote, you have the daycare centers working with the transportation companies, the adult day. I swear to Christ, guys, if these Somalis had put half the effort into finding a damn job, a legitimate job that they do on the fraud, they'd be okay. I mean, think about all the work and think about it. You have to know how to type on a computer to set all this fraud shit up, right? You have to know how to negotiate with people.
You have to know how to set up businesses.
You have to know how to count, right? You got to set up a phony business. You got to fill all that paperwork out. Who do you think helped them with that? Oh, I heard it was Ilhan Omar and her cronies that were helping them do it, because Ilhan Omar told them originally, this is what I read years ago, that she said to a bunch of Somali women, well, look, you sit around all day with your kids and you do nothing. Why don't you create a daycare center? But originally, it was being done in their basements. And she said, you can do it in your home as long as you comply with the state's mandates of how to do it. And then finally, they were like, screw this. We'll lease a building, put a sign up there with a missing N. Yeah. Right? Hey, fuck it. We'll just we'll draw it in crown. Who cares? They're racist if they don't believe us, and nobody ever shows up and we're all happy. Now that's what happened. I mean, think about that. That's what happened, man.
Here's one with a video.
What's that?
A story about a third of the way down on the list. Boom. Leftist woman threatens federal immigration agents.
Federal immigration. There we go. I got it. Yeah.
It's got a video.
Yeah.
This might be good. Might be a good video to see.
Yeah, hang on. All right. Oh, hang on. I got to get the sound out. Yeah, I thought it's not as much as I thought it would be. But here we go.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah, that was good. Trump giving the Ford worker
I never said a threat. I never said anything. I know your name. I never said anything.
I mean, they might need 2 pair of handcuffs. All right.
Yeah, that's.
I digress.
Who's on her, man? Hey.
Back up. All right.
Let's go. You can record. Let's back up. Thank you.
Like, back up, bro.
I love you. Let me go.
Yeah, well, you know what? You don't get away with that kind of shit anymore. I think what's going on is yeah, I think what's going on is the Trump administration finally told ICE, you know what? No more kid gloves. These people are out for war. They're crazy. All right.
Let's give it to them.
Treat them like the criminals that they are. Because I've seen them go out there and like guys are standing like in front of the car. They just go up and shove the guy. They didn't even ask them to move anymore. They just shove them out of the way, spray in their face. I love it. That's awesome.
What's this one about? This might actually be interesting. House Democrats flip and join Republicans to overturn a Biden era regulation. It's right above the.
Yeah, I see. It's Western Journal. Yeah, I got it. Let's do that one.
That might be. I'm curious about that one.
Western Journal is actually pretty good. I like them. House Democrats flip, join Republicans to overturn Biden era regulation. All right. 11 House Democrats. Now, it's good for their party. That's why they're doing it. They don't have any random acts of kindness. 11 House Democrats jumped party lines to vote with their Republican counterparts in a bid to overturn regulations pushed during President Joe Biden's tenure. Well, he has warm diarrhea brains, Biden, so maybe it was something they should throw away. According to Fox News, House of Representatives voted 226 to 197 to overturn a Biden-era regulations effectively aimed at redistricting how strong showerheads could be. Can you believe this shit? Showerheads. Federal law already caps how much water. I would love for any one of these assholes that voted for this, yay or nay, to point out where in the enumerated powers, Article 1, Section 8, guys, where it gives the Congress the power to regulate how much water a showerhead is allowed.
I don't remember the word shower appearing in the Constitution.
Did they even have showers back then?
Think about it. Anglo, thank you again.
Are you serious? Wow, dude, bro. Thank you, sir. That's like 11 times. Wait a minute. Yeah, 11 times. Bro.
Anglo, you're the one who's smashing it.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Let's go back. So I mean, where do they get the right to do that shit? They don't. I'm sorry, they just don't. Like,
well, what they do is they find some enumerated power that vaguely kind of sort of in that corner of the universe relates to what they want to do, and they just call it under that.
Yeah, I agree. They used to do that, but then they gave up. Republicans too. Oh, Republicans too. The shit they vote on. Look, the Constitution gave them an out, all right? And the 10th Amendment says, look, everything that's not listed in the 18 enumerated powers, they belong to the states. That's what it says, right? It says anything not
or the people.
Right, the states or the people respectively, because some people, they used it interchangeably. But anyway, so if they wanted a power, like, and you know what that meant? The Supreme Court already ruled on this years ago. They said that means even powers that we don't even know about yet. And you go, what kind of powers? Well, suppose a power comes up of the internet. Okay, they didn't know the internet was going to be, or radio, or TV, or cars. They didn't know any of that shit was going to happen. But guess what? It automatically belongs to the state and the people. But they have a way, it's called the amendment process, but they're too freaking lazy. They don't want to go through that. So if you want a power that's not already given, you got to go through the amendment process. And that's part of the entire essence. You know what a preamble is, right? A preamble is, like a lot of people that don't. A preamble, we have a preamble to our Constitution. And in those days, the preamble was written so that you say, all right, this is the whole way that we're going to think about things. This is, how we're going to do it. And one of the things was called the General Welfare Clause. And the General Welfare Clause was basically, I had said this before, I won't bore the shit out of you, but it basically says, if you're going to create a law, and in order to fund that law, you got to tax the American people. Well, guess what? That means that everybody that pays that tax must be able to benefit from whatever this program is. So I'm paying into Medicare. I'm not collecting Medicare. I don't have kids living at home. So why am I paying property taxes? Well, that's local.
You're paying school taxes.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but that's local. But I'm saying for the federal side, like how many laws have they created, that you got to pay taxes for, but you're not getting jack shit out of it? How about most of them? I mean, think about it. We're all in tax brackets. Let's be honest. We're all in tax brackets right now where we don't use 90% of the shit that we pay for.
Yeah,
that's lower level people. I'm not downing people. I'm just saying lower level people that pay, like the bottom 25%, according to the Tax Foundation, they don't pay jack shit in taxes. In fact, they're the ones that get money back, like that, whatever the hell it's called, the head of household. But what's the other thing they have where they just earn income credit or whatever the hell it's called? They get like thousands of dollars back that they never even paid in. Right, all for votes. Right, so. But that's a violation of the General Welfare Clause.
Well, but what they do is they decide what they want to do, and then they build it backwards.
You're right, it is.
They build it backwards. They don't start with what they could do and then make a law. They know what they
right. They know what they want to do, and they pass it. But they think that they can pass any law they want. They can't. But you know what? The Supreme Court would probably rule. Well, I don't know about this court, though. This court is different.
But it's but now it was never supposed to be like this. But then they write the law and then try and relate it to one of the 18.
Yeah, but they can't do that anymore. Like, well, you're right. And
no, but that's what they do.
The Commerce Clause. They tried to say that the Commerce Clause means that, or as Johnson said, the guy from Detroit, he called it the Good and Plenty Clause. What an idiot. But the Commerce Clause, they try to say, means that the Congress has the right to tell you how to run your effing business. No, that's not what the Commerce Clause was. The Commerce Clause was a result out of when it was the Articles of Confederation, the federal government, if you will, the central government, it was powerless. They couldn't even get up enough people to send money to pay for a military when we were being attacked. That's how they were giving guidance, right? So then they said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so that no state, because see, like I always give this as an example. The state of New Jersey could make a state law that says only businesses in New Jersey can conduct business in New Jersey. Now that would have screwed New York, probably Connecticut. It would have screwed, Pennsylvania, probably Maryland. It would have screwed a lot of it. And so there would have been things like that could have caused, lawsuits, wars. Each state is a nation. A lot of people don't know that either. Each state is a nation in itself. That's why it's called a state. All right. And just because they joined the union, right, the United States means, that we're all in this, it's the same country, but each state is its own state. Okay. And it rules supreme except for those 18 enumerated powers. All right.
But
so
you were talking about the Commerce Clause, and
right.
The
but the Commerce Clause, the Commerce
Hang on.
Clause was basically to say that no state can create a law that will block commerce of another state.
Okay,
that's
hang
all
on.
it was.
Hang on.
But these pricks used it to say, like you're saying, I'm supporting you. So
your course on your CIA course on mind reading is working very well.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but
the new course you took,
as my chicken friend said, "Fuck off."
Yeah,
all right,
there you
go
go. No, what they do is they take the Commerce Clause and basically use that to mean anything that has anything to do with one state dealing with another or might have something to do. That's where all our gun laws come from. Federal gun laws are all under the interstate, and the Commerce Clause, and right to the point where the feds were sued, and I can't remember the case, but they were sued at one point because with the NFA, for instance, you have to pay taxes on suppressors, and they have all their laws about suppressors. And one state out, it was like Wisconsin or something, and they said, well, no, we're going to make them. They're going to stay in the state. They're not going to have anything to do with any other state. And the Fed's argument was, well, it still affects commerce in another state, because if you're making them, somebody in your state won't buy it from another state.
Right. That
and
is true.
So
and
what I'm trying to say is they take those 18 enumerated powers and bend and twist them to make them say anything they want, to pass any law they want.
They did that for 100 years, and then they stopped because they don't give a shit anymore.
Well, maybe they stopped trying to pretend now.
Okay, because there's nothing they can say that allowed them to create Obamacare. I'm shit. We had President Obama that created a law from an executive order. Are you kidding me? DACA. He had no authority whatsoever. A president, the executive branch, doesn't create laws. And an executive, this is a lot of people don't understand. An executive order it's in the word. It's to execute a law, an authority that was given him either by the Constitution or by the Congress. And so you can't say, like, I remember in the first State of the Union that he gave, he said, and that he asked Congress for money to create a panel that would decide on how taxes were collected or some bullshit. And he said, and they said no. So I created an executive order today. And I'm like, and he should have been impeached right then and there. Because you can't just say, well, if the Congress doesn't give it to me, fuck it, I'm going to do it. But Obama was Mr. Pen and Phone guy. I have a phone and I have a pen, which he told the Congress, fuck you, I don't need you anymore. I'm just going to do what I want. And he did with DACA. And he did it as an executive order. And think about how fucking crooked it was, because any president since John Adams, okay, the second president, every president has been able to rescind or change any executive order from a prior president, except for Donald Trump, because the court, when he tried to rescind the DACA amendment, the DACA executive order, a federal judge said, you can't do that. And it was like, and Trump was laughing. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course I can. It's an executive order. It's not a law. You can't do this as an executive order. Well, there's so many people that are involved right now. I would have been like, I don't give a shit. And I think Trump would have won in the Supreme Court. But this is the problem with our government today.
But Biden did the same thing. He even bragged about it. He said, he said I think it was with the student loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
He said the court wouldn't let me do it, but I found
I'm going to do it anyway.
I found
in other words, he could have changed it, but I'm going to buy your vote anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he should have said. Somebody said, what's the next one? Stephen Miller. We always got a good Stephen Miller video. Let's play the Stephen Miller video. Love me some Stephen Miller tonight.
Yeah, I kind of like Stephen Miller.
I do too, because he's a no bullshit. We're not going to read all this, but Stephen Miller, feds have begun work of identifying, disrupting, and dismantling the insurgent networks. In other words, they're going to go after the people who are paying for all this bullshit. Here we go.
Watch what nuts do to our
it's
body.
A rumble. I'm sorry.
A walnut is really good for you. It's loaded with omega.
There's number
Big
one.
retailers don't want you to have this zoom lens, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So there's
Is the word insurgency accurate? That is what I've chosen to describe this as, not a protest.
Here we go.
Not from what I saw.
Absolutely, it is, Laura. You can use the term insurgency. You can use the term insurrection. You can use the term domestic terrorism. Mayor Jacob Fry, Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison have deliberately, willfully, and purposefully incited this violent insurrection, this violent insurgency against immigration and customs enforcement, against Border Patrol. When you have mayors and state leaders saying that they're going to order the federal government, order federal law enforcement out of their city in order to maintain enclaves of criminal illegal aliens and criminal refugees who are looting and pillaging the state and the American people, when you have them effectively banning the city police and the state police from rendering life-saving aid to ICE officers, from rendering necessary protection and support to the federal government when it is under siege and carrying out these operations, that is a direct assault and attack on the federal government.
That's nice.
Yeah,
they cut him off. I like him.
I like Stephen Miller.
Yeah, he's a no-nonsense bullshit. All right. One more time. Long lost. I'm going to make this an official long lost clip of the week. I got to show it. This will be the third time we've shown it. I got to show it for those.
Listen, I'm going to have nightmares about this lady already.
I know. Here we go. Ready? This is great.
Just register Republican. Just
watch her eyes.
Republican. You're a blue dot in a red area. Just register Republican. Then you get a say in who gets to be their primary candidate. Register Republican. Just register Republican. It doesn't matter. You go online. That card doesn't make a difference. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can just register Republican. Let's all just register Republican. We can all register Republican. What will happen if the Republican Party and the MAGA Party all starts getting crazy leftist LGBTQ folk and we can all just register Republican? There's nothing stopping them. If they're going to round up all the leftists and the Democrats, we can all just register Republican. It's all fake anyway.
You do it anyway.
It's all made up. Register Republican. You can vote for whoever you want in the general elections, but in the primaries, you would have a voice in a less crazy candidate. Maybe making it.
She just said that Republicans, that you would be able to have a voice on a less crazy candidate on the Republican side. And look at her face right now.
Like I said before, look up the definition of crazy lady in the dictionary, and you see that picture right there.
The picture right there.
Stage of the game here. Just register Republican. Just do it. Just register Republican. Nobody's gonna stop you. You can do anything you want. Just register Republican.
I really have to put.
Listen, you know, lady, cut back on the meth. Okay, really.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison.
You just got to cut back on the meth.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Let's see what else can we do here. Vegan. Oh yeah, there's one for you guys. I'll leave the link if you guys want it. I don't think we're gonna go fully into it, but I thought this was interesting. It's veganism, one of the most well orchestrated psyops in U.S. history. It says meat one. So let me just read a little bit. Jet here. This is Cypher News, which I told you I like Cypher News. Jet here. I like to do it, and they use my let's get into it. So I love this guy. Jet here. The vegan wave was never some beautiful grassroots movement. No, it was a powerful, all-encompassing, totally manufactured psyop shoved down our collective throats until it felt inevitable. The cannabis industry as well, but I digress. And then they overplayed their hand. Fake meat was the hill, and Americans planted their flag and said, no way. Let's get into it. You're old enough to remember. Let me make it a little bigger for my 61-year-old. You're old enough to remember when you couldn't scroll 5 minutes without being told meat was the archaic past and plant-based was the progressive future. I ate one of those Impossible burgers once just to see what it tastes like. And it really did taste like meat. And then I read the side ingredients and I just threw it out. It was all chemicals, all of it. It was chemicals galore. That was the sales pitch, not a friendly, hey, try this and you'll like it type of vibe. No, it was a very clear message that said, this is where society is headed. And anyone resisting was framed as ignorant, selfish, or as a backwards hick. It felt like everybody, I don't know where he goes at that. All right. It felt like everybody in the world was becoming a vegan, or at the very least embracing plant-based foods. But wait till we get into the bugs. Is 40 still here? But what we didn't realize is that it was all a lie. Yet another psyop created to push society in a direction they never wanted to go. The actual number of true vegans was always tiny. I never met a vegan that didn't look like they were going to pass out. I'm just saying, all right? There could be fact checkers. There could be a vegan out there that looks healthy. I've never met one. I'm talking really, really tiny. But the PSYOP ignored that fact and made the visibility seem massive. Celebrity endorsements, glossy media worship, corporate rollouts, politicians, and all that insufferable moral language hit at once like a coordinated campaign. That's why it felt bigger than it was. You know what else did that, Dr. Jade? The trans phenomenon. It was very tiny, less than 1% of the people, but the media and the corporations made it seem like it was the biggest thing in the world, that it was normal, that we were the weird ones for going, what the hell is that all about? Stay out of our bathrooms. But it was never about popularity. This was an amplification psyop, and for a while it worked. It did for a while. So who pushed it and how high up did it go? Well, all you have to do is follow the coalition. The media needs a moral storyline. Activists need a lever. Corporations need a new product category. And finance needs a new future to sell. Government and global institutions love anything that can be packaged as compliance for the climate agenda. One of their best control movements ever. So when you put all those players together, you get a weaponized lifestyle that's sold as your undeniable destiny. And here's the thing many of you might not have realized early on. Meat sits right in the center of the Great Reset. Why? Well, for several reasons. Real meat is messy, decentralized, and tied to land, tradition, and independent producers. You cannot patent a ribeye. And no matter how hard you try, you can't centrally manage a million ranchers the way you can centrally manage a handful of synthetic food companies. That's true. Fake meat is the opposite of real meat because it's fake meat. It is industrial, branded, patentable, and totally controllable. It fits a world where food becomes a permission slip instead of a staple. Meat represents local power, biological reality, and a supply chain that does not bow or cave easily. Guys, I could stop right here, but isn't it wonderful that now we can get a story like this? Whereas during the Biden admin, you couldn't post something like this. Are you kidding me? The editors would be terrified that the Biden people would come in and censor them all. So, in other words, it was bullshit from the beginning. And
Anglo did it again.
Oh, did he? Holy wow, man. Dude. I hope the new job is really paying well.
I hope it's a great job.
That's 12 now. Brother, I love you to death. You too can be like Anglo-Saxon.
But you don't have to do 12,
right.
Honestly.
Yeah, I know. Hey, guys, do me a favor and hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps. It helps with the algorithm somehow. They tell me it does. So I got to say, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. And Anglo, God bless you, brother. Let me see. Linda says, I went to a vegetarian barbecue one. Really? I'm allergic to tofu. They grilled veggies, so that was okay. Yeah, I guess you could grill veggies.
Now, hey, listen, I like my veggies, but don't tell me I can't eat meat.
Yeah,
and it all has to do with cow farts, I guess. That's
yeah, there you go. Yeah, remember that when they came out with the Green New Deal, they literally had to remove, because everybody made fun of it. AOC's bill literally had cow farts written in there. They were talking about the methane that's released from cows, which is why they had to. Now, I'll bet they had a hamburger every day. You know, they would have a hamburger every day while we were eating tofu and bugs. Right? I can almost guarantee they would never miss a dinner, and it would be fabulous every night. Let's see. CBS just ended. Yeah, here we go. CBS just ended the fake news story about Renee Good, the crazy woman from Minnesota. Well, she wasn't actually from Minnesota. All right, so here we go.
She had a connection to Colorado Springs.
Yeah. From the moment Renee Gold case broke, it had all the ingredients of a political wildfire. On one side, you had left-wing activists, media outlets, and grifters working overtime to turn the death of a radical lesbian, Renee Good, into the next summer of love. On the other hand, this is Revolver, by the way. On the other hand, you had reasonable people, all of us here, right, who watched the footage and tried to figure out what really happened, because when more video angles were shared, the narrative everyone was being sold began to unravel, and it happened in under 48 hours, guys. This is why I love the fact that we have a lot of independent journalists now out on the scene of things everywhere, right? The alternate clips made it very clear Good wasn't some innocent bystander who drove into the wrong place at the wrong time. She and her wife, they weren't married, by the way. I did a little digging. They were not married. They just said it. We're in the middle of a nasty confrontation with federal agents, deliberately blocking them and trying to antagonize them. At one point, her wife, who was standing outside the car and urged her to drive. Didn't we read this earlier? I thought we did. Maybe we did. I don't know. Renee did exactly that. She hit the ICE officer. Yeah, we did, because remember I made fun of, we don't have to do it again. Remember I made fun of Jacob Frey when he said, when they found out that he had internal bleeding. See, the point was, they said, well, she didn't even hit him with her car because they didn't see the other angle, right? Now they're saying he walked into the car. Yeah, he walked into a moving vehicle.
Yeah, he jumped in front of the.
Oh, yeah, he did intentionally to hurt himself, right? So he could shoot her. That's how fucking nuts these people are. But what happened was, if you remember, she ran into him and hit him with the car, and CBS had a random act of journalism they committed, and they said he had internal bleeding where she hit him. So Frey comes out and during a speech he says, he goes, he has a bruise, the same thing I would get if I used my hip to close the refrigerator door. And it's like, what a dick. The point was that they originally said that she never hit him with her vehicle. I'd like to know how you do that. Like, are you doing that intentionally, or is it just doing it?
No, this is my computer deciding.
I want a computer like that.
Yeah, well, you too could have a computer and camera like mine. How about this Bill Clinton story? What is it?
It was awful. The one in the center that we didn't read yet?
The one up in the top of the list here. What was it? They're thinking of,
buy a mug.
House Democrats consider throwing Bill Clinton under the bus.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll read the other one. Everybody knows by now that the Clintons didn't show up for their grilling.
Okay, raise your hands, everybody who expected them to show up.
Yeah, I don't see anybody hands up. House Democrats consider throwing Bill Clinton under the bus over Epstein deposition. I guarantee that's bullshit. They wouldn't do it. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee are leaving open. We're leaving it open. The possibility of supporting a Republican-led effort to hold former President Bill Clinton, Shazam, in contempt of Congress, which means nothing, after he failed to appear for a scheduled deposition on Tuesday. While some Democrats are privately criticizing what they describe as a hyper-partisan push by Republicans. Yeah, tell that to Steve Bannon and to Peter Navarro, who argued the same thing. And you know what's funny? Bannon argued executive privilege, which he had, right? But he was like, well, wait a minute. Why do you want me to testify about January 6th? I haven't been in the administration since 2017. And they threw his ass in jail. The same thing with Navarro. They threw him in jail. So why did the Clintons think that they get a pass? Well, like you said, Jade, it's because it's different when they do it, right?
Yeah, the only thing that might be going on is Clintons are so passé. Clintons are so 20th century now.
Yeah.
They just don't have it. You know, used to be. I remember the days saying, if I had if I had proof positive in my hand of crimes committed by Hillary Clinton, I would just destroy it.
Support your butcher, not Hallam or kosher.
Another one by Anglo. Gosh,
I know. Awesome.
If I had proof positive that Hillary or Bill committed crimes, I think I remember saying, I mean, half jokingly, how would I even have such a thing? But I said I would destroy it, because if it ever came to light that I had it or that I gave it to somebody, my life would be, I'd be dead in 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
So, but they are now at this point, they are so passé. They are so.
Oh yeah. Well, this is why you might have some Democrats here.
They got no juice anymore. So.
Oh, I know. Well, they used to be the royalty.
Yeah,
but now they got nothing. Well, you know what? They used to think that Barack Obama shit rainbows and ice cream too, but they're starting to fray on him as well, because they're finding out. I mean, think about it. You saw Tulsi this week when she came out, and Caroline Leavitt let her give her report.
She
sent them all for criminal referral, including Obama.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, she sent them all for and I want to see. Well, I don't think Obama, because he'll claim immunity, even though I don't think when the Supreme Court ruled on immunity, committing treason was a real good reason, right? But I want to see Comey, yes, but I want to see what's his name, Brennan. I want to see that SOB. I want to see him go through a perp walk, although we'll never see that. But I want to see his ass get in trouble. So, all right, back to this. So while some Democrats are privately criticizing what they describe as hyperpartisan push by Republicans, several members indicated that they do not want to be perceived as shielding Clinton as GOP lawmakers continue to rally around President Trump. Quote, "We want everyone to come in if they know something." And they definitely know something. They should come in. So Frost said Democrats are waiting to review the final language of the contempt resolution, but acknowledged, quote, "There's definitely a chance members of his party could vote in favor of it." Yeah, I think because you know what? They're not going to get anything. Like when Hillary Clinton shows up to your campaign for a rally, they got to be saying, look, how much you want to just go the fuck away? I don't want you here, and Bill, he'd be like, "I want you to vote. Oh, who's the girl with the tits over there? Look at that, man. Oh, yeah, sweetheart, come here. Where was I?" I mean, they don't want these two clowns in there. So the standoff stems from Oversight Committee's investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bill and Hillary Clinton were subpoenaed alongside several former attorneys general and ex-FBI directors, and they both came in. They already testified, right? Hillary Clinton was also scheduled to testify on Wednesday. However, like her husband, Hillary also failed to appear. Now, they gave, I want to see if it's here. They gave a letter. The balls of these two to write the letter that they did. They started saying, like, Hillary Clinton, of all people, started saying things like, the president is weaponizing the DOJ to go after his political enemies. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit. This woman is crazier than I gave her too much credit. I totally misjudged her. She is toys in the attic, batshit crazy, this woman, to say something like that after what she did, right? And after what the Democrats did to Trump.
What Biden regime did.
Well, yeah, but she did too. She got the Obama administration to spy on his campaign.
Yep.
And then to violate the rights of Carter and George Papadopoulos. Carter Page and George Papadopoulos violated their rights. Holy shit. They knowingly lied to a FISA court, which is a big deal. You can't lie to a FISA court. They knowingly lied to a FISA court by using the dossier. Right? They were told the dossier was garbage by the guy who was the Deputy Assistant Attorney General, Bruce Orr. His wife, Nellie Orr, wrote the damn thing because Fusion GPS hired her to write it. So he told them, don't use this because it's garbage. How do you know? My wife wrote it. Really? Okay. So they used it anyway. And Comey, who signed three of the four times that the FISA went the first time, then it was renewed 3 more times. He signed 3 of the 4. All right. So he knew, he was in that meeting. He knew it was phony, but he lied. And yet that smug son of a bitch, every time he gets a camera on him, talks about how he was like the savior of the country against Trump. Unbelievable. After Bill Clinton failed to appear for his deposition, Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said the panel will move next week to hold the former president in contempt of Congress. I hope he does. We've communicated with President Clinton's legal team for months now, and they continue to delaying to the point where we had no idea whether they would show up today. Well, we all know what's going to happen. So the Clintons will get away with it if Comer doesn't continue to push. And I think he will, though.
I hope he does.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. I think he will.
What's this one about Trump's mugshot?
Oh, yeah. It's like the behind the scenes, the infamous. Yeah, let me bring it up.
The infamous mugshot.
Yeah, I'm glad you're grabbing these because I forget about a lot of them.
Well, while you're talking, sometimes I glance over and look down the list.
Yeah,
gotta love that picture, man.
I know. And the part that I love is that they monetized it. I mean, while we're seeing like law schools students sitting there when the news comes out and shows and they're cheering, yay, right? Like they love the lawfare of it, right? These guys are going to be fucking lawyers soon, and they're cheering lawfare against the former president, right? But he monetized it. Think about it. Everybody's wearing the shirts, the hats. I have a shirt with it too.
Yeah, the thing is, they thought this was going to destroy him.
Oh, yeah.
24 hours later, it's on coffee cups.
And he was up in the polls. Yeah, he was up in the polls because, and you know what? A lot of Black Americans, that's why, God bless them, that's why they came over. Because I heard several say the same iteration. They said, look, lawfare was invented by Democrats to go after Black people. So we understand what lawfare is. So I'm siding with President Trump because I don't believe a word of it. So this is a look at the behind the scenes drama surrounding Trump's infamous mugshot. This will be cool. For years now, hold on, let me increase it. For years now, the word lawfare has been treated like some partisan buzzword. People who used it were told that they were overreacting or were conspiracy theorists. It's a conspiracy! But for millions of Americans who watch President Trump, his lawyers, his allies, and everyday MAGA supporters dragged through the courts, headlines, and endless sham investigations, it wasn't a buzzword or a conspiracy. It was personal, very heavy, and designed to break people. Think about it. They went after Trump's lawyers after 2020 that were representing him in the battleground states. There was a reason. It was not to stop them because they knew it would do that. The reason they went after the lawyers was to tell every other lawyer in the country, hey, he gives you a call and wants to hire you. This is what's going to happen to you. That's why they did. Fucking communists do that. Don't tell me that the Biden people and the Democrats aren't communists, full-blown commies.
Yeah,
that's what the commies do.
In North Korea, if they think you're doing something bad, they arrest you, your family, and your friends.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. In China, they execute you with a bullet, and then they send a bill to your family to pay for the bullet.
Yeah,
they still do that. How about
I heard that.
Very efficient. Very efficient. All right. So the CCP, yeah, Chi-Coms. The Biden regime didn't target one man with lawfare. They went after the entire movement. They did. But what doesn't get talked about is what it actually took to survive that kind of deep state pressure. I always wonder, too. Now, they say that Trump is not an emotional guy. Like, nothing freaks him out. He just cares about results. He's a results-oriented guy. So if he tries something like in government and it didn't work, he goes, all right, so that didn't work. Let's come up with something else that will work. He doesn't freak out. You don't really see him freak out too much. Right?
Yeah, but do you know anybody else who could have withstood what he went through? I mean, think of anybody else.
I kind of knew that he would. And like I had like a precursor to that. And that was the Kavanaugh situation. Any other president would have said, look, man, you got to stand the fuck down. We got to find a woman now. And Jesus Christ, we got to save ourselves here. Trump was like, screw that. And Trump had a talk with him and he said, is it bullshit? He goes, yes, Mr. President. It's not true. Not at all. And I can prove it. And he went, all right, I'll stand behind you. And he did. No, I think no other president would have done that.
Yeah. I don't think any other man that I know or woman
stood by him
could have gone through what he went through and stood by the truth and as he knew it.
Right. And Kavanaugh, turns out he's still better than the three libnuts on the court, right? He still votes with us the majority of the time.
Yeah, Kavanaugh's not bad. Gorsuch is better.
Gorsuch is better. Alito and Thomas, they're the two. They're my Scalia's left over, you know.
Yeah.
I love those two. Anyway, so what was the game plan, and how did those closed door moments play out? What's it like to stare down every powerful institution that's lined up against you? The easy path is to just fold, right? Because that's what they want you to do, and then they pounce on you, right? But and what did Trump do with Hillary? They kept saying, what was the big thing that everybody shouted at every single rally? Lock her up, lock her up. Remember that shit, right? And so what did he do? He said, I think they went through enough. I'll just let them go. And then she spent the next 4 effing years trashing him every chance she got. She's an evil shrew. But that wasn't an option for President Trump. If he didn't fight them, they would literally destroy his entire life. Think about it. They tried to make it look like he was a fraudulent businessman, that he was a rapist, right? They what else did they do? They tried to say that he tried to steal and overturn a legitimate election. It was the cleanest, most pristine election we ever had. Remember that bullshit that we had to listen to day after day? That he led an insurrection, even though he was never charged with that. So fight he did. This is the first-hand account of how Team Trump made decisions when the full weight of the federal government was coming down on them like a ton of bricks, and how they turned an attempted humiliation into a defining political moment. John Lauro delivered his powerful speech last fall, and it deserves to be revisited now because it shows how the lawfare machine was taken on and beaten by resolve, faith, and an unwillingness to submit to tyranny. You got to admit, guys, they tried everything, including shooting him in the head, and he never gave up. That this man was put through so much. They rip him even today. He never gave up. You got to love it. Lauro isn't a political commentator, and he's not a bomb thrower. He's a criminal defense lawyer who watched the justice system get weaponized and had a front row seat to decisions most people will never face. He walks the audience through the moment President Trump chose to surrender in Atlanta and take that infamous mugshot that every lawyer advised him against. I really want to hear this. I didn't read this yet. But Trump knew how to work it, because what was meant to be degrading and embarrassing became iconic. That's what I said earlier. That image was supposed to be all about submission, but it turned into defiance. Lauro explains why that moment mattered, not just for Trump, but for every single American who's felt the cold, crushing weight of a system that decided to punish political dissent like it was terrorism. And that's what they did. This clip is as close as you'll get to hearing how that call was made, why it was made, and how the lawfare effort backfired in spectacular fashion. Where's the clip? Oh, come on. They're not going to give us the video. Oh, please. Oh, no, thank God. Here we go.
I had the great honor of representing a J6 defendant. His name was President Donald Trump.
We'll put as much as we can on because it's getting late.
He had the same courage. He had the same strength. He had the same faith as everyone in this room, and I saw it firsthand. When he hired me, we were looking at 4 criminal cases, thanks to the oppressiveness of Joe Biden and his corrupt actors in his corrupt Department of Justice. I represented President Trump in the Washington, D.C. case, where, as you may know, they attempted to characterize him as an insurrectionist, as someone who hated the Constitution, as someone, you may have heard those same sentiments against the people in this room. And we knew it was false, and we knew they were lying, and we also knew that we would overcome, because no amount of oppression can ever defeat faith and courage and prayer.
That's right.
And this room is a living testament to that. That picture of President Trump has special significance for me because we were in New Jersey looking at 4 cases, and we got word that this prosecutor in Atlanta, persecuted, wanted to take his mugshot. And the FBI and the CIA and the Secret Service, they have the president's picture. There was no reason for him to have his mugshot.
Right.
But this persecutor, and you may have experienced persecutors, I don't know in your experience, But this persecutor wanted him to come down to Atlanta. And we were begging her, we don't want you to do that. There's no reason. And finally, the president said, I've had enough. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to take a picture.
God bless him.
And all the nerdy lawyers, myself included, oh, you can't do that, Mr. President. You know, it's the President of the United States. I'm going to do it. And he went down there and he took that photograph. It's iconic. It's beautiful. Most beautiful photograph I've ever seen. And he called me up the next day. He said, what'd you think of it? I said, it's pretty powerful. He said, John, it's going to be more famous than Sinatra's headshot. And he was right, because that man was able to take a negative and turn it into a positive, and turn it into a representation of a single man fighting oppression and fighting for our country,
Yes.
which is exactly what you've been doing over the last 5 years.
And if you remember, some of the other quote unquote defendants did the same thing. Rudy Giuliani did the same look. I was wondering if that was coordinated.
I will say he was with you every step of the way in my conversations with him. He stood side by side with you all. No one can possibly understand what it means to go through the criminal justice system unless you've lived it. No one can understand the fear of separation, the fear of loneliness, the effect on families, the effect of children, the destructiveness of it all. And for what?
Politics.
Because one man, Joe Biden, wanted to crush a movement?
Yep.
Crush a political movement. We have to connect the dots. It started in 2016.
Yep.
It started with Obama spying
Never
on
ended.
Trump's campaign. It went to Russiagate, that fake narrative.
Yep.
It went through the impeachment process.
Yep.
It went right through J6, which was a total setup and an outrage.
It was a setup. Now they know.
I saw the photographs.
Yep. It was a setup.
Let me say, I didn't know much about J6 when I got involved. I don't know why the president hired me. I'm just a lawyer from New York City, and I don't work for a big firm. No big firm would take on the case, by the way.
That's why, because
no one
they
would
were
do
afraid.
that. So I'm very grateful he did. It was the best thing I've ever done as a lawyer, because I believe being a lawyer is fighting for justice, not using the legal system to oppress and crush people.
Thank you.
And that's what Biden did, and that's what your prosecutors were doing. No question about it.
Yep.
But you got to connect the dots.
Obviously, he's talking to a bunch of people in the room that were involved in having the lawfare of Trump thrown at them as well.
And the dots were focused on one objective by Joe Biden and his corrupt minions, and that was to crush a political movement, a ground roots political movement that sought the best in America. And Joe Biden wanted to crush that from the very top to the very bottom. It didn't matter. And anybody that got in the way would be destroyed. I saw it firsthand. I also felt the oppressiveness of walking into a courtroom in the District of Columbia and what that felt like as an American citizen. The heaviness, the weight. They were there for one reason: to get us,
Yeah.
to put us in jail.
Trump always said that they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way.
And to crush us. They thought they could do that. You had these lawyers, many of them Ivy League trained lawyers, former Department of Justice lawyers, in the Department of Justice lawyers. Some of them, I hate to say it, had been colleagues of mine. They had one purpose and one purpose alone: to destroy American citizens that they disagreed with.
Yeah.
That was their objective. And you've lived it firsthand.
Scumbag.
And you've seen it. And it's incredible And thanks to people like Cynthia, candidly, thank you. Because without you, no, in every dark moment in American history, there's been a beacon of light.
Yeah.
And you were that beacon of light. And without your courage and strength, we wouldn't all be here. And the courage and strength of other patriots.
True.
Our work is not over. Our mission is not completed. The fight has just begun. They're already talking about coming after us if they win
Can you imagine?
in the next election
They
cycle.
are.
Can you believe that?
Team Jeffries.
They haven't had enough. They want
Yeah.
more.
They want to make sure that this never happens again.
Nobody is. Nobody in this room is going to let them. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
Exactly. Don't. Yeah, they've already said they're coming for her.
We know what their goal is, but we're going to win because our cause is righteous
Yep.
and our cause is just and our cause is ordained. All they have is power and the lust for power, and we will defeat that. But our mission is not completed. I also work for an exoneration project in Kansas City. I know firsthand that getting out of jail is just the first step. We have to deal with issues of reintegration, of jobs, of getting licenses back, rebuilding families, rebuilding lives, and that takes a lot of work. And I know, Cynthia, you are dedicated to that, and everybody in this room is dedicated to that.
This is an amazing speech.
Yeah, we're going to listen to the whole thing?
We also have to hold those
No. I just
who
want to,
oppressed us accountable.
when he starts saying
I'm
something I don't want
sorry.
to hear.
I'm a criminal defense lawyer, but there has to be justice.
He's
Those
right.
agents who cruelly put you in leg irons for no reason at all,
Yeah.
who kept you in jail for months and years without due process,
A lot of J6ers are there.
Yeah.
who cruelly attacked the very foundation of humanness, American citizens,
Yeah.
they have to be held accountable.
They have to be. Or else we're going to go through it again. And what kills me is they're saying that what Trump is doing now by going after them, that is weaponizing. It's called accountability, something they didn't do.
Yeah.
But not just those on the front lines. The ones who met secretly in the White House, putting it all together,
Yeah.
constructing the narrative, organizing the troops.
The White House was behind all the lawfare from the federal, the state, and the local. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
They sent their number 3 guy from DOJ, got him to resign his position, the highest position you're probably going to get, right? And he's going to leave that to go become one of the lawyers in that case with the Judge Juan Merchan against Alvin Bragg. Right, the 54 felonies. He's a felony. Yeah, he's a felon. All that bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit. They did it at every freaking
Behind
level.
the scenes. The ones who are at the center.
They need to
of
go
the
down.
suppression.
And you know what? From what I understand, we'll end it there. From what I understand is Trump is getting kind of pissed, and behind the scenes, he's saying, "What the hell is Pam Bondi doing?" Because we're not seeing indictments. We have evidence that these guys did what they did. They should bring warm diarrhea brains Biden in, and everybody that worked, they should bring them in and go, what the hell were you thinking? They have the evidence of what they did. They know, they have the ties. They know, I mean, we know that Fonnie Willis's lover, not that he went to the White House to get instructions of how they're supposed to take Trump out in Fulton County, Georgia. I mean, holy shit. What is Pam Bondi doing? Like, why is she not? Why don't we see indictments galore? All these people are fucking guilty, but we're willing to give them a trial. But I mean, think about it. I mean, I understand government grinds slow, but I mean, we waited 4 whole years.
Yeah, I want to see orange jumpsuits, man.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I'm so tired of us waiting for it to happen. Hey, Chris, what's up, brother?
Okay. I think
You're
we
done?
need to. I think we need to think about wrapping this up.
Yeah. What time is it? Yeah, it's 10 after. Yeah. We did 3 hours and 9 minutes. Wow, that goes fast.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
That goes real. Yeah, I could go further if you want to.
No. Listen, I gotta go. I gotta go eat.
All right.
I gotta go rest.
No worries.
But I'm feeling better actually today than I have in a while. So good for me.
All right, guys, do me a favor if you haven't already, hit that like button. It helps us. Appreciate it. Anglo, Ludwig, God bless you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Very generous. Very, very generous.
And come back next week.
Yeah, I'll probably see you guys in the chat tomorrow because I'll be over at 40s. I say it every week, but something always comes up because it's a Saturday, but I try to get in there as often as I can. Appreciate you guys being here. I know you could be anywhere on a Friday night of all times, and you're here. Love you all. You guys are the best.
Come back next week and bring a friend.
Yeah, please. Bring a friend. Bring a family member. Bring anybody. We're trying to build the numbers here. Appreciate it, you guys. Watch my videos during the week. I will talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Love you all. Bye.